Chapter 2056. Everyone cried out in surprise. The top 10 geniuses stepped onto the stage one after another. There were even immortal monarchs who were unrivaled in their generation. At this moment, they all stepped into the Emperor realm, their auras swallowing the universe, suppressing heaven and earth. It was clear that the Emperor race used their foundations to strengthen their cultivation in a short period of time. They used their ancestral secret techniques to cross a series of realms to the peak of the Emperor realm. Everyone exclaimed. The Emperor race was the Emperor race after all. They had supreme divine techniques to strengthen their cultivation in a short period of time. After all, the Tianwu King and the others weren't ordinary people. They had accumulated a huge amount of foundations in the Saint realm. Now that they had reached the peak of the Emperor realm, they howled with terrifying fluctuations, causing heaven and earth to tremble. Once the top 10 experts joined forces, they could be called an unrivaled flood, able to sweep through all enemies. I can't believe that things have developed to this point. A war king cried out in grief and indignation. The top 10 war gods, no matter which battlefield they were placed in, were enough to sweep through the army of the Dark World. Now, they were released to enter the Emperor battlefield to kill each other. However, what happened next really made the experts of the Emperor's city feel suffocated. The world truly saw the Emperor race's supreme foundation. One after another, the terrifying young war gods charged over. A total of 18 war gods stepped onto the Emperor battlefield. 6 Xian people came, 5 from the Reincarnation Emperor race came, 3 from the Thunder Immortal Emperor race came, and 4 peak experts from the Starry Sky Emperor race came. These 18 seeds were all legendary, originating from the various great eras of the immortal world. They were all well-known figures, the leaders of the younger generation, the hidden trump cards of the Emperor clans, heavenly geniuses who had been in seclusion for an endless amount of time. Laughable. Normally, when we asked these people to come out, the Emperor race would make all sorts of excuses. Now that we are faced with such a situation, 18 of them rushed out at once. The old Azure Dragon was furious. The Heavenly Power King and the others were worried for Su Yin. Once the 18 war gods joined forces, this was an irreversible war god flood. How could Su Yin fight them so easily? The immortal world's Emperor City isn't a place for an expert from the mortal world to behave atrociously. The celestial martial emperor said coldly, Su Yin, it's not too late to regret. Come down and admit your mistakes, and there's still a chance to turn things around. Otherwise, you won't be able to walk out of the Emperor's city alive. Su Yin sat cross-legged on the coronated monarch battlefield and did not respond at all. This kind of attitude, this kind of aggressiveness, made the 18 peak war gods' faces turn cold. One after another, their eyes widened, shooting out cold electricity. At the same time, countless young cultivators in Emperor's city trembled. This killing intent was too strong. The 18 peak level war gods were all well-known figures of their generation. The killing intent they released already merged together, forming a blood-colored storm that tore apart the heavens and covered the battlefield. It was truly shocking. I've already given you a chance. When the time comes, don't say that you've lost or that it's unfair. The Thunder Immortal Emperor waved his hand, causing the oppressive atmosphere in the Imperial City to be filled with killing intent. 18 peak martial gods rose from the ground one by one and charged towards the Imperial battlefield. Rumble, the sky trembled. The magnificent and ancient monarch sealed battlefield was filled with a shocking murderous aura that tore open the sky. The 18 peak experts also arrived in an instant. One after another, they emitted an extremely frightening heaven's might. They looked at Su Yin, who was sitting in the middle. The killing intent from their bodies was bone-piercing, and it soared endlessly. Until now, Su Yin was still silent. He did not stand up at all. This was the end of the world for them. Roar! Among the 18 peak experts, some were as blazing as the eternal sun, some were dazzling, some were surging with chaotic energy, and some were like war gods that walked out of a sea of lightning. Each of them released a peerless combat strength. This was a battle that was enough to make the experts of their generation despair. How could they fight this battle? They were all peak talents hidden by the monarch clans. Each of them had the combat strength to defeat their peers. Now, the 18 of them joined forces to kill one person. The storm in the sky rumbled, tearing apart the void. The entire space-time exploded and turned into a universe black hole. It wanted to shatter Su Yin together with it. Every single one of them was powerful enough to make an Emperor Realm expert feel despair. Now, the 18 peak war gods on the battlefield had a domineering aura that could swallow the universe. They emitted a terrifying power that swept towards Su Yin. Boom! In an instant, the universe collapsed. Boundless destructive waves suddenly awakened and rushed towards Su Yin. A figure sat cross-legged in the space of destruction and destruction. His appearance was solemn, and the sound of scriptures chanting in his body was endless. He seemed to be supreme, aloof from the world, and domineering. This was a scene that caused everyone to be shocked. No matter how terrifying the aura of the 18 generations of peak war gods was, the moment he faced Su Yin, he was stimulated to suddenly awaken. The power that flowed out was vast and majestic. "What is that?" the god shouted. The monarch's sealed battlefield had completely changed. The boundless star field seemed to have sunk. The galaxy in the sky was vast and mighty, and the stars in the sky rumbled. Suddenly, the world discovered that Su Yin, who was sitting cross-legged, was vast and boundless, filled with the heavenly might of the boundless universe. His body didn't move, but his body seemed to have turned into the universe's gate. It drew upon the power of the universe, causing the ancient star field's space-time to become dazzling. Accompanying Su Yan's figure, it produced a terrifying brilliance. The entire sky was filled with resplendent symbols, displaying the ancient star field's power. It was majestic and ancient, so terrifying that it seemed like it could suppress a great world. At that moment, the roars of dragons and tigers, wind, rain, thunder, and lightning crisscrossed. The stars in the sky went berserk and suddenly began to revolve, interweaving into a huge domain world. This kind of domineering aura was enough to make the experts of the same generation tremble. Su Yin sat cross-legged like the ancestor who opened the sky. The entire starry sky was so bright that it reflected the mountains and rivers, the sun, moon, and stars, forming a domain that sealed the sky. This is the legendary open, the heaven and earth scripture. Someone's expression changed drastically. Su Yin had definitely obtained the complete open, the heaven and earth scripture. He used the heaven and earth chessboard to spread the Tao in the starry sky, evolving the profound mysteries of the supreme law to suppress the 18 peak martial gods. What kind of terrifying spirit was this? Wanting to suppress the 18 martial gods experts. Asha, the 18 generations of experts' expressions changed. One after another, they roared and displayed their divine abilities. Their magic power was monstrous, and their battle prowess was extraordinary. Rumble. This Starfield's world instantly went berserk. The 18 terrifying martial gods carried the suppression of the boundless Starfield. Their roars shook the stars in the sky, causing this world to become unstable and tremble. The ancient star sea seemed to have collapsed and was about to be destroyed. Su Yin, you're finished. You're at the end of the road. Don't resist anymore. Heavenly Eye Vision King's body was huge. The vertical eye in between his brows shot out the light of reincarnation, forcefully opening a huge crack in the Starsea world, extending towards Su Yin. What's the point of wasting words with him? Just kill him to prevent future troubles. King Tianwu sneered. His battle prowess surged, and his immortal martial power was awakened. Suddenly, he waved his fist, wanting to destroy the entire starry sky. Similarly, a huge crack appeared as he charged towards where Su Yin was sitting cross-legged. Rumble! The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The starfield seemed to have been destroyed. The 18 experts' magic power was monstrous as they forcefully opened the ancient star sea. One after another, it was so terrifying that it made people suffocate and tremble. Peerless killing intent was already pressing towards Su Yan's body. Whoa! In an instant, Su Yan's eyes widened. The moment his chest breathed, the destroyed ancient star suddenly shone with divine light. It was blinding and flashed with billions of runes, covering the entire ancient star field world. What a terrifying art! The onlookers were all shocked. The space-time of the Dharch battlefield seemed to have a life of its own. It revealed a vast and boundless aura, like a sleeping god awakening. The divine might was so vast that it was even more terrifying than the destruction of the world. Vaguely, the roars of dragons and tigers resounded. A dragon was lying down, and a tiger was roaring. This ancient star-sea world was filled with peerless killing intent and condensed into the momentum of heaven and earth. Roar! The roar exploded and shook the 9 heavens. Among the 18 gods of war, several experts' bodies shook as if they were about to explode. They were all shocked. This was an invincible secret art order. The heavens and the starry sky were walking towards revival. Dragons and tigers were fighting for supremacy, looking down on everything. The heavens and earth resonated, and the peerless killing intent intertwined. Within it, the wind was raging, the blood clouds were dense, and thousands of ghosts were crying. It intimidated the enemies. It was as if doomsday had covered this world, and it emitted a powerful force field fluctuation. Mystic 9 escape techniques, spreading the Tao in the starry sky. Moreover, it contained Su Yan's Tao and art. In a short period of time, it condensed a monstrous killing intent that covered the heavens and earth and devoured the 18 gods of war. In an instant, Su Yan's body rose from the ground. He was like a sleeping Tyrannosaurus in human form. His aura was too terrifying. The aura he emitted made King Tianwu, who was charging towards Su Yan, feel as if his body was about to collapse. "Su Yan, come and fight," King Tianwu roared. His body was burning as he circulated 120% of his combat strength. He waved his fist to block Su Yan's attack. "Kill!" Su Yan roared. The scene was monstrous. The ground was filled with corpses and a sea of blood. Accompanied by an extremely powerful and domineering spiritual will, it was even more terrifying than a demon lord. His roar was even more intense. Accompanied by Su Yan's peak combat strength, King Tianwu's body was on the verge of collapse. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood and was about to shatter. Everyone was stunned. This was King Tianwu, who was almost killed by Su Yan's roar. "No, immortal lord, save me." King Tianwu felt deep despair. Now they were all standing at the peak of the Emperor realm. However, today, Su Yan was many times more terrifying than the day of the bloody battle in the imperial city. He was so domineering that King Tianwu felt despair and was about to collapse on the ground. Boom! The fist exploded and shattered the starry sky world. No matter how shocking King Tianwu's defensive secret technique was, it was all shattered. A bloody punch, dominating the world. "Ah!" King Tianwu screamed miserably. His chest was penetrated and his broken body was cracked. Blood flowed down. He felt as if his life had been shattered. He became extremely weak and was about to die. Even his primordial spirit was attacked by Su Yan's primordial spirit. His soul was torn apart and was about to be melted. It was too painful and despairing. What kind of war god was this? How is this possible? Countless people cried out in horror. This was King Tianwu, an Emperor Realm war god. Yet his body was directly penetrated by Su Yan's punch. The people of the celestial race cried out in fear. With 18 experts working together, if Su Yan could still kill one of them, the Emperor race would lose all face. "Kill!" A roar descended and filled the sky with thunder. Su Yan's black hair danced in the wind as he fought with his tongue. Boom! In an instant, King Tianwu, whose body was penetrated, was lifted into the air by Su Yan's roar. His broken body suddenly disintegrated and exploded into a bloody light that scattered between heaven and earth. At the same time, it also splashed onto Su Yan's figure. In the sky and on the ground, a war god bathed in blood stood proudly. He was extremely cold as he looked at the 17 war gods who had opened the mystic Gate 9 escape worlds one after another. A bunch of trash. Thank you for helping me. Su Yin strode forward with an incomparably ferocious might. Chapter 2057. The ancient star, sea formed by the mystic 9 escape art, was destroyed. No matter how powerful Su Yan's mystic 9 escape art was, it was impossible for it to trap the 17 war gods. Although a heaven martial king had fallen, the aura of these 17 peak experts was still terrifying to the extreme. They emitted the most brilliant battle strength as they rushed over. This wasn't a chaotic battle, but 17 peak experts working together to kill one person. In an instant, the 17 war gods rushed over. The aura of great divine abilities intertwined, one after another. It was incomparably fierce. Boom! The space-time disintegrated. The tide was even more turbulent than the ocean. The killing light was boundless. It was like an invincible giant was howling, wanting to crush Su Yin. "I can't see anything clearly," everyone exclaimed. The divine light on the Emperor battlefield was so dazzling that it made people's eyes bleed. It was as if the sun in the sky had shattered, emitting a terrifying killing order. In this world where the sun and moon were destroyed, the 17 experts arrived in an instant and joined forces to kill one person. Some people even felt that Su Yan's body was going to explode into ashes. Roar! Su Yan roared toward the sky. His blood and chi boiled. The universe scriptures order bloomed. Accompanied by the might of the taboo primordial spirit, it instantly engulfed the world of the battlefield, causing the space-time to tremble. This was a battle strength that could shock the heavens and make ghosts cry. Suddenly, in a situation where 17 peak experts were attacking together, Su Yin was still able to unleash his peak battle strength. "Open for me." Su Yin waved his fist with peerless strength. The seemingly simple fist imprint instantly spewed out several peak, great divine abilities. After all, he was standing at the peak of the Emperor domain. His foundation was extremely strong. The reincarnation blade light rolled in the sky. The Kuan Peng split the sky. Thunder and lightning were like tides. The power of the explosion was shocking the heavens and made ghosts cry. It gave rise to a huge energy ripple that swept across the land. It was going to stop the 17 war gods. "Su Yin, you are too arrogant. You won't live. You will die without a doubt." The 17 experts roared and pounced forward, one after another. They conjured great divine abilities and bombarded Su Yan's face. The divine abilities that filled the sky collapsed and shot towards Su Yan's body at lightning speed. Boom! The killing intent was like an ocean, drowning the universe and covering Su Yan's body. The scene was heart-wrenching. The spectators in the Imperial City were all trembling with fear. Could Su Yin really survive in such a powerful world of death? The 17 war gods joined forces to attack. The sky was filled with fragments of the great Tao. Someone discovered that Su Yan's cosmic scripture Dharma idol had collapsed. An abnormally terrifying aura pressed down on Su Yan's body, causing his body to shake. "Su Yan, hold on. Beat them up." Tai Baokai growled in a low voice. He was incomparably worried. Once the 17 experts attacked Su Yin, it was very likely that he would be heavily injured. However, the most shocking thing was that only the immortal monarchs were able to break through the order of Su Yan scripture. The other experts, one after another, were unable to get close to Su Yin, as if they had charged into the boundless universe. "How is this possible?" An expert from the Xian people roared. What kind of existences were they? Now that they were facing Su Yin, even his cosmic scripture Dharma idol couldn't break through. This was simply a fantasy, but it was really happening. Even so, Su Yan's body was bleeding and there were some cracks on it. Boom! Su Yan stepped into the sky, bathed in blood. His figure suddenly rumbled violently as an extremely terrifying aura erupted. His body was steaming with golden chi and blood. It was as if millions of tsunamis were rumbling, accompanied by the principles of heaven and earth, intimidating all living things. The supreme dragon wrestling technique erupted. He used his terrifying battle prowess to break free of the imprisoned world. His body crossed over and fled. Su Yin, where do you think you're going? An expert from the starry sky emperor race roared in anger. The chanting of scriptures in his body was like the sea. It was as if a starry sky sun was being nurtured in his body, illuminating heaven and earth. Moreover, they were side by side and revolving around his body. Take my fist. The starry sky race's war god was awe-inspiring. As his fist rumbled forward, the sun in the sky revolved, forming a ridiculous scene of burning the starry sky. Who do you think you are? Su Yin roared in anger. His fist was released, terrifying and domineering. A young war god from the starry sky emperor race dared to block him. This made Su Yin furious. His fist was magnificent and majestic. It could easily suppress an invincible expert of the same generation. Universe Fist. Su Yin's black hair danced in the wind. A huge figure rose behind him. It was indomitable, like a terrifying young great emperor going crazy. The vast universe rumbled with its pressure. The universe scripture's order was reconstructed. The huge Dharma behind Su Yin suddenly merged with Su Yin. From this moment on, Su Yin became even more domineering. It was as if he had stepped into a forbidden area. His fist revealed the might of the vast universe. With a rumble, he smashed forward and destroyed the starry sky sun. Ah! The young war god from the starry sky emperor race coughed up blood. His entire arm was shattered. Half of his body was riddled with holes. He screamed miserably. He was about to be defeated. His body was full of wounds and cracks. The eyes of the big shot from the starry sky emperor race turned blood red. Even his heart was bleeding. How terrifying Su Yin is. As expected of the imperial prince war god. He is too strong. Who can compete with him? Some of the old antiques from the great sects in the imperial city cried out in horror. This was an invincible battle strength. It was like a peerless fiend god attacking. The experts from the starry sky emperor race were in despair. Those who are not strong enough will be eliminated. Su Yin was as cold as a fiend god, iron-blooded and overbearing. The sound waves from his mouth and nose were like thunder, rolling and whistling as they struck the bodies of the group of experts who were charging toward Su Yin. Many people were shaken to the point that the vital energy and blood in their bodies churned, and they almost fell to the ground. As for the one who was seriously injured, his body exploded into a bloody rain of light. Some of the young war gods felt their scalps go numb. Su Yin was simply a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus. Once they met him, they would be severely injured in one move. How were they supposed to fight? Su Yin had already killed 2 of the 18 war gods. Su Yin, don't you dare be so arrogant. The immortal monarch's eyes emitted a cold, killing intent. He was like an invincible war god who had descended from the immortal world. His body was steaming with boundless divine might. The immortal martial true body was instantly revealed. It was ferocious and overbearing. It could easily destroy the starry sky. Boom! He stepped on the desolate land. His martial way was divine. Behind him rose a vast purgatory world. Millions of fiend gods' shadows appeared. It was as if he was suppressing the 9 hells, purgatory, and swallowing the universe. The immortal monarch roared and attacked. He was shockingly powerful. Heavenly Eye Vision King also unleashed his full battle strength. The vertical eye between his brows emitted a grand aura of life and death. It was accompanied by the power to split open the sky. It shot out a destructive divine light towards Su Yin. Boom! The deep thunderbell was also extremely brave. His aura was not inferior to the immortal monarch and the others. His body was like a natural lightning sea world. It spat out black lightning that filled the sky. It formed a huge black sea of lightning that suppressed Su Yin. In a short period of time, one after another, invincible heaven's favorites erupted. They stood indomitable, and their roars shook the heaven and earth. Good job. Beat Su Yin. The Emperor clan members shouted fanatically. They had great hope. Once these war gods joined forces, they didn't believe they couldn't kill Su Yin. Boom! In a flash of lightning, The space Su Yin was exploded. It was as if his body was destroyed along with it. In a short period of time, the titled Emperor battlefield rumbled fiercely. All the major domains were dyed in blood. 3 Su Yin, what kind of secret technique is this? Many people cried out in shock. Su Yin turned into the 3 pure ones. 3 figures crossed the sky one after another and attacked the young war gods on the battlefield. 1 Su Yin was already peerless and terrifying. 3 Su Yin stood on the immortal devil battlefield, causing all the experts in the world to cry out in shock. 3 Su Yin. This was very likely the human world's one turn into 3 pure ones. The titled Emperor battlefield seemed to have exploded. The 3 areas instantly surged with bloody light. The sky was filled with order and law runes. It cut apart the immortal Tao and destroyed space. The scene was horrifying. Kill! The 3 Su Yin roared at the same time. Their battle prowess was completely unsealed. Their auras were ferocious to the extreme. Finally, they revealed a terrifying aura that made all living things tremble. Heaven and earth were trembling. Su Yin fought crazily. His body was burning. The 3 paths of heaven, earth, and man appeared. 3 giants were born. The lawful embodiment of heaven and earth was about to tear apart the universe, move the ancient star sea, and kill the enemies. One attacked the immortal monarch, one attacked the heavenly Eye King, and the last suppressed the deep thunder bell. Boom! The 3 Su Yin were peerlessly powerful. Their moves were grand, as if they were the strongest emperors of heaven and earth. They attacked fiercely. In a short time, the 3 Su Yin's divine light was like an ocean. Their terrifying battle prowess surged out, causing the sky to tremble and the moon to sink. No matter how strong the immortal monarch and the others were, they were facing the crazy Su Yin, the invincible imperial prince war god, and Su Xianren, whose imperial Tao domain had reached the great perfection. Heaven and earth prostrated under his feet. The world was filled with endless murderous intent. In a short time, the 3 Su Yins were majestic. They activated their strongest foundation and unleashed tens of thousands of punches. The world was disintegrated and the stars fell. It was so terrifying that it was like the end of the world. The 3 immortal monarchs, who were said to be invincible in their generation, dimmed. Together with the 3 experts behind them who joined forces to attack the Su Yin, it was as if they had fallen into the purgatory of death. Trash! Absolute heavenly emperor screamed. A bunch of trash. What was this? The immortal monarch and the others used their strongest power to open a path and block the Su Yin. Moreover, this was the Su Yin who was not at his peak. But even so, a series of young experts could not stop him. Sometimes they fell into the sea of reincarnation blades, sometimes into the sea of time swords, and sometimes into the sky burial. They could not find the way back. A war god screamed. He felt humiliated and burned his strongest battle prowess to go berserk. But even so, it was useless. They could not suppress Su Yin's power at all. Some people despaired. Their primordial spirits were about to leave their bodies and be destroyed by Su Yin. Kill! The 3 experts roared. The immortal monarch, heavenly eye vision king, and lightning abyss bell instantly erupted with the ancient heaven opening scripture. The 3 supreme scriptures were circulating, and even the emperor blood in their bodies was burning. The sky exploded. It was a scene that was enough to destroy heaven and earth. The 3 experts went crazy. Ancient Emperor's might was released on the Emperor's sealed battlefield. A supreme figure appeared, intimidating heaven and earth. I've said it before. You Emperor Clan elites are just a bunch of chickens and pottery dogs. To me, you're no different from ordinary soldiers. The 3 Su Yin roared. His body was surrounded by 10-colored immortal radiance. His bloodline was reviving. Emperor's shadow killed a group of people. It was as if he was returning by stepping on the bones of the heavens. The boundless sky trembled. The entire earth collapsed. At this moment, Su Yin was resplendent and overflowing. He turned into a 10-colored war immortal. The 3 Su Yin punched out. His aura was terrifying. It was as if he had gone berserk. The emperor blood in the immortal monarch and the others trembled. It was as if they wanted to submit in front of Su Yin. In an instant, the world was filled with blood. One after another, the young war gods trembled. Their bodies were collapsing. The terrifying pressure that filled the sky covered their bodies. They could not withstand it all. Even though there were immortal monarchs and the others at the forefront to stop Su Yin, it was useless. This was an invincible battle strength of the current era that surged out violently and swept through everything. Kill! At this moment, Su Yan's eyes burned with killing intent. The terrifying might enveloped the emperor-sealed battlefield. The three invincible war gods screamed. Their figures were sent flying one after another. That terrifying aura also enveloped the other experts in an instant. It was so domineering that it made them suffocate and despair. In an instant, 5 young war gods were killed. They exploded in the void and turned into bloodlight. Chapter 2058. Of the 18 war god contestants, 7 had already died. Even though the ones that survived were more powerful than them, what did Su Yin have to fear? His hair flew about chaotically, his domineering aura overflowing into the heavens. He looked down on everyone, his vicious might endless. Many women screamed, losing control of their emotions. This was too tyrannical and overbearing. The unequaled legend was still continuing, moreover surpassing the glory of the past immortal devil battlefield, making all of the opposing powers tremble in fear. The crowd's blood boiled, their figures seemingly becoming glorious together with Su Yin. Time was like the time when they watched Su Yin fight for supremacy in the immortal devil battlefield. A few unrelated individuals all had fanatical expressions. What was an unequaled war god? Su Yin perfectly displayed the unequaled strength of the present age. Just what kind of form was this? The 18 peak war gods that entered the Emperor's sealed battlefield to trap and kill Su Yin were directly crushed by Su Yin. 7 great war gods died. This was a heavy loss for the Emperor clans, making the Emperor clan's immortal kings roar out uncontrollably. The death of even one of these people was a great loss to their clan, and now 7 of them were killed by Su Yin. On the Emperor's sealed battlefield, bloody light overflowed, bitter aura vast and mighty. Immortal Monarch and the others were coughing out blood, their expressions horrified. It was because they had never seen Su Yan's bloodline before. The 10-colored precious blood that appeared on the surface of Su Yan's body was also unheard of. Su Yan's bloodline directly suppressed the Emperor bloodline in their bodies until it trembled, as if it was going to explode. It was hard to imagine just what kind of powerful bloodline this was. How could it be this ridiculous? Even the Emperor clan's bloodline seemed weak. Then, who exactly was the Emperor clan's? In that instant, the 3 great Su Yin merged into one. In that short period of time, his aura flourished even more, as if a war god sleeping in the sea of primal chaos had awakened. His eyes released cold lightning, his body surrounded by 10-colored immortal splendor, overlooking the entire bloody battlefield. One person, facing all of them alone. Facing these Emperor clan young war gods alone, his body released a domineering and vicious might, crushing the young war gods until they trembled one after another, finding it difficult to look him in the eye. This type of scene was a bit strange, full of exceptional terror. Su Yin looked disdainfully at the heaven and earth, looking down on the past and present, looking down on the heroes, looking down on the bloody battlefield. His aura was wild and overbearing, and even the sky couldn't cover up Su Yan's glory. In the end, his aura swallowed the entire universe. In that short period of time, all creatures lost color. The Emperor clan's old experts all roared in grief. 11 Emperor clan young war gods. In that short period of time, no one dared to take action against Su Yin. This was true unmatched space-time strength. Ha ha ha! Su Yin raised his head towards the sky and roared with laughter, his voice shaking the clouds. He turned into the most powerful individual who dominated heaven and earth, oppressing the Emperor clan war deities, his brilliance matchless. His laughter echoed throughout Emperor City, making countless people's blood boil. It also made a large number of experts feel their faces burning. After delaying for a day or two, could it be that the 18 young war gods who were dispatched were all going to face the fate of not being able to suppress Su Yin? If this really was the case, then this would be the humiliation of an emperor clan. Being intimidated by a single person, this was extraordinary humiliation. Bastard, Thunder Abyss Bell roared. His flesh and blood suddenly ignited. All the pores on his body spat out thick black lightning. His body seemed to have turned into an abyss of lightning, rumbling down rolling lightning energy light rain. The immortal monarch was also furious. He reconstructed his war god. His left hand revealed the immortal monarch's supreme art, and his right hand revealed the emperor suppression's supreme art. Two glorious inheritances appeared at the same time, making him look like a peerless war god who had fallen into purgatory. Kill! Heavenly Eye Vision King roared. The complete heaven-opening reincarnation sutra appeared as if it was summoning the real reincarnation tunnel. The sky flickered as if it was burning, scattering down reincarnation symbols. Killing was everywhere. One after another, the Emperor Clan experts welcomed a great eruption of power. The 11 young war gods charged over. They ignited the origin of their battle bodies, erupting with 120% of their battle strength. Moreover, their clan-suppressing great abilities were unleashed one after another. No one dared to question them. Their strength was unquestionable. However, Su Yin was glorious and invincible. He was recognized as the Emperor War God of the immortal world. Suddenly, the sky and earth collapsed in front of him, but his expression did not change. The group of war gods of the Emperor clan charged over, shattering the ground where Su Yin stood. Everything withered and was destroyed. A bunch of trash. I'll kill all of you. Su Yan's figure suddenly rose from the ground. Like a 10-colored cosmic comet, he tore through the sky. The moment he crossed the battlefield, he could be called a savage Tyrannosaurus, looking down on everything. Suppress him. The 11 top war gods roared, releasing their battle strength. Great abilities were unleashed one after another. They really did not believe that they could not suppress Su Yin. Su Yin encountered terrifying obstructions along the way. Hundreds of thousands of great abilities attacked. Although it was a feast for the kill, Su Yan's divine light was boundless. Even his dormant bloodline was awakened. It was unimaginable how terrifying it was. Boom! He waved his fist. The heaven-burying fist was unparalleled in the world. The reincarnation heaven-punishing path's blade light was billions of times. The heaven-opening lightning scripture turned into a lightning tide. A series of great abilities erupted and rushed towards the violent great abilities that interweave between heaven and earth and pressed down on him. Just like that, a peerless overlord was born. His strongest battle strength erupted and collapsed the sky. He simply destroyed the Emperor battlefield and blasted open the eternal space-time. In an instant, Su Yan's body crossed the universe and charged towards a young war god of the Starry Sky Emperor clan. Roar! This young war god roared crazily. He activated his strongest foundation at lightning speed and built billions of layers of defensive order to stop Su Yin. Su Yin opened his mouth and spat out a heavenly river. It pressed down on the young war god of the Starry Sky Emperor clan. This young war god almost exploded in anger. He wanted to kill him with a single breath. Wasn't this too arrogant? However, in the next moment, his heart trembled. The river that Su Yin spat out suddenly blazed brilliantly. It was as if a rain of light that had been deposited for billions of years had evaporated. Accompanied by grand space-time power, it drowned this world. No, he felt despair. This was transported by the heavenly river of time and space. Su Yin spat out a small heavenly river of time and space. It crushed the defensive order runes in the sky and suppressed his physical body. An immortal king of the Starry Sky Emperor clan screamed miserably. Another young war god of his clan was facing a destructive attack. In this situation, Su Yin instantly pounced in front of the second young war god of the Starry Sky Emperor clan. He spat out another breath, and sand flowed out. The moment it flowed in the void, it went berserk. The stars were like sand. They enlarged one by one and evolved into the stars of the universe. The 9 escape secret technique was quickly released. This was very terrifying. It pressed down on the second young war god of the starry sky, Emperor clan, until he screamed miserably. His entire body was disintegrating. In an instant, Su Yin crushed 2 young war gods of the starry sky Emperor clan. When he pounced on the third, his frontal bone blazed brilliantly and emitted an incomparably dense yang qi. It was accompanied by 2 karmic fires that bloomed. No, the third young war god of the starry sky, Emperor clan, wailed miserably. His primordial spirit was being melted. Even his flesh and blood were cracking. Soon, he was completely burned. His remnant body suddenly exploded. In a short period of time, Su Yin killed 3 young war gods of the starry sky Emperor clan. The 4 young war gods of the clan who participated in the battle were all dead. Kill! Su Yin rushed into the universe. He shook the ancient star sea and threw the world into chaos. His aura was incomparably dense and filled with boundless killing intent. Accompanied by a frightening, ferocious might, he let out a loud roar. A bunch of trash. I, Su Yin, am also a member of the Starry Sky Emperor clan. I have no enmity with you. How dare you block my path? Die. The situation of the 3 Starry Sky Emperor clans joining forces to besiege Su Yin was completely broken by Su Yin. The Starry Sky Emperor clan was completely wiped out. The clan's monarch had an ugly expression. His heart was bleeding. The losses were too heavy. For young war gods were gone just like that. Even the heavenly king and the heavenly astral monarch were gone. The old antiques of the Starry Sky Emperor clan roared. Killing intent surged in their eyes. They couldn't control themselves. They couldn't wait to kill Su Yin and kill Su Yin. Roar! Su Yin's roar rumbled. His body was dazzling. He looked down at the people behind him and shouted, "Don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Don't say that I'm bullying the weak. I'll let you make the first move and send you on your way." The immortal lords and the others were trembling. They were so angry that they were going crazy. Their eyes were about to pop out. These are the words they gave Su Yin before. Now, Su Yin was giving them back. More than half of the 18 pinnacle war gods were dead. Although the heavenly monarch and the others still had some fighting spirit, the rest were trembling. Their hearts were filled with despair. If they continued fighting, they would also die. Swish! Suddenly, an expert of the Xian people retreated quickly. He didn't want to stay on the battlefield and wait for death. However, in an instant, space-time suddenly disintegrated. The expert of the Xian people who was escaping fell. What greeted him was a golden foot that suddenly trampled down. No, the war god of the Xian people let out a cry of fear. He didn't feel humiliated. He was already scared out of his wits. He allowed the foot to trample on his body. It was a tragic scene. An expert of the Xian people was directly crushed. Blood bloomed in the sky. Su Yan's ferocity was even stronger. The old expert of the Xian people screamed. It was too humiliating. He was killed by Su Yan on the way and trampled to death. "I can't take it anymore," Deep Thunderbell shouted angrily. He would rather die in battle than be humiliated. Looking at the lightning shadow that was charging towards him, Su Yan commented, "You're not bad. You have some backbone. I'll let you die with dignity." "Su Yan, kill!" Deep Thunderbell screamed. He didn't come alone. He joined forces with the experts of the Thunder Immortal Emperor's bloodline to attack. The divine power of lightning gushed out of their bodies and penetrated Deep Thunderbell's body. In a short time, Deep Thunderbell's aura became much more terrifying. He roared like thunder. His hair turned into lightning. He burned his body and charged towards Su Yin. Roar! Su Yin stood between heaven and earth. He didn't move at all, but he let out a loud roar. His tongue was like thunder, and heaven and earth rumbled violently. The lightning that came out of Su Yan's mouth and nose were like galaxies in the universe. Soon, it was as if billions of lightning bolts were falling from the sky. This was a shocking scene. How terrifying was Su Yan's cultivation? That was why he had evolved all kinds of secret skills and orders. Together with his scriptures, He had achieved the most terrifying sublimation. Su Yin roared and released billions of lightning bolts. They suddenly pressed down on the bodies of the people who were charging at him. Their bodies shook and their chi and blood surged. It was as if they were about to explode. They truly felt despair. This was an invincible being who couldn't be defeated. Even though Deep Thunderbell burned his body and unleashed his most terrifying combat strength, he still couldn't stop Su Yin. Su Yin raised his hand and slapped his body. It was as if a vast universe was pressing down. Deep Thunderbell screamed and fell to the ground. Everyone in the world was silent. Many people were scared silly. They wondered if they were really war gods of the immortal world. Before Su Yin, they were so weak that they couldn't even withstand a single blow. They didn't look like experts at all. In reality, although Deep Thunderbell and the others had used their secret skills to raise their combat strength to the peak of the Emperor Realm, they weren't truly at the peak of the Emperor Realm. How could Su Yin be threatened when he stepped onto the stage in such a state? He was like a dog being slaughtered. Su Yin raised his foot and stepped on Deep Thunderbell. He didn't choose to kill him immediately. His eyes shot out cold lightning as he stared at the immortal lord and the others. He said coldly, "Who else is there? Feel free to come. I'll give the Emperor Realm clans a chance in time. Also, you can come in another batch. I haven't killed enough." Su Yin said coldly, "But you want to leave? You won't have a chance." The immortal lord and the others screamed miserably. Their bodies and minds trembled. They were suddenly angry, but they were even more pale and powerless. They couldn't defeat Su Yin. Even if 18 more of them came, they wouldn't be able to defeat Su Yin. Boom! An ancient space-time domain gate suddenly opened in the Imperial City. Its aura was so powerful that it caused the universe to darken. It was as if the Emperor's army had descended from the heavens into the mortal world. The Celestials really surprised me. The space-time Emperor let out a low roar. His eyes were cold, like the eyes of the universe's sea of fire. He stared at the celestial kings in the Imperial City one after another. He was really surprised that the Celestials had sent their troops at the critical moment. Would the Empress also choose to step onto the stage? Chapter 3. There's another chapter at night. Chapter 2059. The space-time Emperor's eyes were bone-chilling as he stared at the experts of the Xian people. He was wondering if the Empress would make a move. The celestial kings shook their heads and smiled bitterly. They were also surprised that the celestial race had sent out their troops. It seemed like this was the decision of the emperors. They had chosen to stand together with the Xian people. This also meant that Su Yin couldn't leave the Imperial City. Once the celestial race sent out their troops, the 3 ancient emperor clans had already chosen to join forces. This was the strongest killing formation that could sweep through the celestial world. Who could break it? The huge space-time domain gate flowed with an aura that made all living things tremble. It caused the boundless sky to darken. It was like a prehistoric monster had arrived, emitting a boundless might that replaced the heavens. Boom! In an instant, the huge space-time domain gate opened. Troops after troops of soldiers walked out. Each of them surged with essence energy. Tens of thousands of elite soldiers had cold expressions. The moment they stepped out, the sky exploded. The aura of these tens of thousands of elite soldiers was too strong. It was even more shocking than an army of 100,000. They could be called immortals and devils that had rushed out of purgatory. Their auras were intertwined with each other, causing the shattered sky to burn brightly. The aura they emitted was so terrifying that the kings almost fell to the ground. A terrifying army, filled with killing intent, swept through the vast imperial city. Celestial Emperor's army. The Phoenix King clenched his fists and let out a beast-like roar. His body trembled. He really didn't expect that the celestial race's most terrifying army would come out at the last moment. Celestial Emperor's army. The billions of soldiers outside the city roared. Their hearts felt like a knife was being twisted. Their eyes were bloodshot. They were about to go crazy. To them, Su Yin was a great hero worthy of respect. However, the Celestial Emperor's army was one of the 3 strongest armies in the celestial world. It was also worthy of respect. Throughout the celestial world, Who didn't know about the Celestial Emperor's army? This was one of the three great armies of the celestial world. It had an ancient inheritance and unparalleled divine might. However, it was a sharp blade that could cut through the battlefield. It had the foundation to change the situation of the battlefield. It was rumored that the Celestial Emperor's army was very small. There were only 100,000 elite soldiers. This was an elite army. The Celestial Emperor's army had always been at 100,000 people. It was said that there were a large number of retired disciples of the Immortal Cave in this army. From this, one could imagine just how glorious and powerful the Celestial Emperor's army was. They exuded unparalleled divine might as they looked down on the titled Emperor battlefield. Tai Baokai roared. The celestial race sent out troops to kill Su Yin. As expected, at the crucial moment, nothing could be relied on. The Heaven race was an emperor race, one of the most ancient races in the immortal world. They definitely wouldn't allow Su Yin to be at his peak in the Emperor Bestoma battlefield. That is, immediately afterwards, everyone was terrified. They saw another enormous space-time domain gate, a great army rushing out from within, as if they were gods and devils that crawled out for the purgatory of reincarnation, their might not inferior to the Celestial Emperor army at all. Samsara Emperor's army, said Mu Xin in a trembling voice. That army was the strongest army of the reincarnation imperial clan. They were ranked in the top 3 armies of the celestial world. If I don't kill Su Yin, is there no way to end this? Someone roared in grief. Sure enough, it was as they expected. Another terrifying army charged over. The aura of this enormous army was extremely divine and holy, as if the gates of the immortal realm had opened, and they revealed boundless and extreme immortal might. Immortal Emperor Army. Everyone was suffocating and trembling. The 3 strongest armies of the celestial world had all gathered above the Emperor's city. The aura of the 3 armies was extremely terrifying, and they were releasing boundless killing intent, as if they were drinking the blood of billions of living beings. 3 Emperor Army, the strongest army of the celestial world, is here. Su Yin, can you stop them? Yang Hui and the others roared. His words caused East Demon's expression to change greatly. There was no publicly recognized strongest army in the celestial world, but if there really was one, it would be the gathering of the 3 Emperor armies. This was an army that could sweep through everything. Over the years, the number of times the 3 Emperor armies worked together could be counted with one's fingers. However, no one would have thought that the 3 Emperor armies would be reunited to kill Su Yin. Su Yin, you're finished, said the immortal monarch coldly. Once the 3 Emperor armies are gathered, even the strongest army of the Dark World will temporarily avoid them. Once this army presses on the battlefield, you won't be able to stop them. Who would be able to stop this army? The 3 Emperor armies were here. Although there weren't 100,000 of them, once the 3 Emperor armies gathered, it meant that they were the strongest in history. I didn't expect that I, Su Yin, would have the fortune to fight with the 3 Emperor armies. On the Emperor title battlefield, Su Yin stepped on the deep lightning bell and laughed loudly. 3 Emperor clans, I've heard a lot about you. Haha. Su Yin, just admit defeat. You can't win against them. An old expert lost control and shouted. There's still room for negotiation. Just admit defeat. Admit defeat? Su Yin said coldly. I'm standing here, and I've already made all the preparations. Bring it on. Kill. Roar the experts of the 3 Emperor armies. Their essence, chi, and spirit were extremely terrifying. Even the sky was trembling violently. Asking them to gather together to kill one person was a humiliation to the 3 Emperor armies. However, Su Yin actually didn't lower his head. This made them release their sky-burning anger. The 3 Emperor armies gathered together. This ferocious aura was enough to split the souls of all living beings. Many immortal kings lost their composure. The killing intent was too strong. It was as if they would kill any god or immortal that blocked their path. This was the 3 Emperor armies that had never been defeated before. Su Yin, I know what you're worried about. The Empress came. Her snow-white, slender figure was wearing golden armor. She had a noble temperament, and the peerless majesty of the heaven race's empress. She said in a low voice, "If you come down now, the heaven race can protect your life and send you out of the immortal world." "Why do I, Su Yin, need your heaven race to protect my life?" Su Yin shouted. His blood-stained hair fluttered in the wind. He said coldly, "Since the heaven race has sent out their troops, why are you still so hypocritical?" "Su Yin, the Empress is talking to you. Why don't you know how to appreciate her kindness?" A heaven race immortal king pulled a long face and said coldly, "Do you think you can leave the Emperor's city in this kind of situation? If it wasn't for giving face to the space-time Emperor, this Emperor-conferred battlefield would have long ceased to exist." "Then come." Su Yan's eyes burned fiercely. He roared, "I want to see if the three Emperor armies can spare my life." Boom! Su Yan's feet stepped on the air. Lei Yuanzhong's body suddenly exploded. The Thunder Immortal Emperor screamed miserably. This was the most outstanding, peerless overlord of their lineage. Yet, he was directly trampled to death by Su Yan. He died miserably on the battlefield like a bug. Kill him for me." The Thunder Immortal Emperor pointed at Su Yan and roared angrily, "Kill him. This kid has already gone mad. Kill." Just as the three Emperor armies were heading toward the Emperor-conferred battlefield, Su Yan's aura collapsed the sky and split the sea. The 10-colored precious blood around his body began to roar on its own, erupting with the sound of tsunami. Even his own blood essence was awakened endlessly. The vast battlefield trembled under Su Yan's shocking heavenly might. The terrifying war god rose from the ground and charged forward like lightning. He wanted to kill the Xian people and the young war god of the reincarnation emperor race when the three emperor armies arrived. "Stop him." The top experts of the two clans joined forces and resonated the divine power in their bodies to stop Su Yan, who had already gone mad. Su Yan's body crossed the sky. The moment he charged forward, he transformed into the three pure ones. "Kill!" Su Yan roared. His three bodies charged forward fiercely. In a short period of time, his combat strength increased tremendously. He was as terrifying as a war god. It was as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. This space-time was completely destroyed by Su Yan. The three experts used all their might to unleash their peak combat strength. In a short period of time, the world in front of them was in a state of chaos. Thick blood was also gushing out. Some people screamed miserably. There are also people whose bodies were cracked. If the Immortal Emperor and the others didn't defend at the forefront and reverse the situation to stop the crazy Su Yan, this group of young war gods would have been slaughtered by Su Yan in a short period of time. Even so, other than the Immortal Emperor and the Heavenly Eye Vision Monarch, the rest of the experts were all severely injured. It was also during this time that the three Emperor armies arrived. The entire battlefield was sometimes as dark as ink, sometimes as golden as the sky, and sometimes as divine as the sky. Tens of thousands of elite soldiers from the three Emperor armies roared. They exploded and swept through the space-time of the battlefield. Su Yan felt as if he had fallen into purgatory. It was also as if he was in the middle of a massacre in the immortal world. It was also as if he was being judged by the heavens. In a short period of time, he endured 3 attacks. His body was shaking, and blood was flowing out from his mouth and nose. "Kill!" All the elite soldiers from the 3 Emperor armies shouted. The 3 armies seemed to have transformed into 3 cosmic dragons. They started to suppress Su Yan. Su Yan roared furiously. 10-colored radiance circulated around his body. His chi and blood were vast. A series of divine abilities were released. Buzz, buzz, thick chi and blood light sputtered from the top of his head. It burned fiercely and penetrated Su Yan's body. He unleashed his life source. His aura was once again terrifying. Even if it was a mountain of swords and a sea of flames, even if billions of great Daos turned into sharp swords and slashed at him, Su Yan was also peerlessly powerful. He struggled in the prison and welcomed a great explosion in the space-time of destruction. One sword severing the epic. Su Yan roared furiously. His palm transformed into a sword embryo. It was 100,000 feet long. The moment it slashed forward, it could tear purgatory apart, destroy the entire area, suppress the space-time, and open a bloody path. 3. Emperor Formation. All of a sudden, the aura of the 3 Emperor armies was fully released. The aura of the 3 armies also blended with each other. The energy waves were too terrifying. The heavens and earth turned into the color of blood. It was as if a complete immortal world was revealed. Boom! Next, monstrous blood light erupted and tore the sky apart. The ancient star sea disappeared and was replaced by a boundless sea of blood. It was so vast that it covered the entire battlefield. Oh my God! Countless people were suffocating and trembling. They saw Su Yan's sword light slashing out and falling into the 3 Emperor Formation. Such a terrifying sword light was able to split open the river of time and open the passage to the epic. It affected the 3 Emperor Formation. It was known as the strongest killing formation in the immortal world. It was as if it was going to explode. Bao Kai shouted excitedly. Was it going to be cracked? However, the smiles on their faces didn't last long. The 3 Emperor Formation suddenly burned fiercely and shot out a terrifying rain of light. It caused the stars in the sky to explode. Uffed! Su Yan was coughing up blood. The pressure was too powerful. It sealed the heavens and the earth. It was as if it was being suppressed by the immortal world's original will. Chapter 2060. Woo Woo. The titled Darch battlefield was on the verge of collapsing. The sea of blood rippled and broke the sky. Stars fell from the sky. It was a shocking scene. The army of the 3 monarchs welcomed a huge explosion. One after another, the soldiers' bodies spat out resplendent runes. The densely packed runes surged up and spread to the peak of the 9 heavens. The entire space-time changed. It emitted an ancient divine aura and turned into a huge life form breathing out. Even with the titled The Arch Battlefield in between, everyone in the universe still felt a chill down their spines. It was as if they had fallen into a sea of death. This is the 3 Monarchs Formation. The Heavenly Force King's voice trembled. The army of the 3 Monarchs formed the complete 3 Monarchs Formation. This did not give Su Yan any hope of breaking through. The Heavenly Dragon Maiden clenched her fists. How could she not know what the 3 Monarchs Formation was? This could be said to be the ultimate killing formation of the celestial world. This was also the ultimate trump card of the 3 armies. But now it was used to kill Su Yan. The sky rumbled. The entire universe instantly became ferocious to the extreme. Boom! The world rumbled. It was as if billions of blood seas were rolling down. It shook the heavens and the earth. The ears of the spectators were ringing. The blood in their bodies trembled. Their bodies were about to explode. The blood seas fell down, intertwining with the runes of heaven and earth. This was an extremely vast project. It was boundlessly terrifying in an instant. The world trembled intensely. The energy ripples that were emitted were too turbulent. They had already formed a blood-colored tornado. With a humming sound, it charged downwards in waves. It was like a drifting rain of blood that could destroy the world as it charged towards Su Yan. Kill! Su Yan could not sit still and wait for death. He ignited his body, and 10-colored blood filled the sky. His strength was terrifying. Rip! He stretched out his arms and tore a huge crack in the blood sea. It was as if he was tearing the heavens apart. His aura was violent. Su Yan rushed up and attacked the army of the 3 monarchs. Suppress! All the soldiers of the 3 monarchs shouted coldly. Everyone's body shone brightly, revealing a powerful life source. The auras of the 3 armies became even more ferocious and surging, causing an extremely powerful storm to appear in the sea of blood. It was as if a condensed celestial realm was being presented. There were billions of Tao techniques, emitting the sound of a tsunami that reverberated in the imperial city. The pressure could topple mountains and overturn seas, and all living beings found it difficult to resist. Many people lost control and cried out. They had only heard of this kind of formation, but had never heard of it before. The 3 most ancient clans of the celestial realm, known as the Three Emperor clans, had joined forces to bring out their ultimate trump card to kill one person. Su Yan's body was shaking as if it had been blown up. In this battlefield world, Su Yan was about to lose his footing. This made him pale. He had never encountered such a vicious great formation before. Even someone as powerful as Su Yan found it difficult to break through this world. Strands of heavenly laws filled the sky. They were as thick as an ocean as they came crashing down, submerging Su Yan's body. In an instant, Su Yan's body was covered in wounds. His bones could be seen, and thick blood was spurting out of his pores. This was a tragic scene. Su Yan's physical body looked as if it was about to collapse. This was equivalent to him being subjected to the strongest judgment of the apocalypse. His body was covered in scars, and he was shaking nonstop. Su Yan, Bamboo Moon, cried bitterly. Her starry eyes were red, and her body was shaking. However, she knew very well that no matter how great Su Yan's injuries were, it could not compare to the sorrow in his body. This was the most ancient three emperor clans of the Celestial Realm. It was equivalent to the Celestial Realms while cutting off Su Yan's path to becoming an emperor. Bamboo Moon's brows flashed with pain. Her abdomen was aching. She was sweating profusely and was about to collapse to the ground. It hurts, Bamboo Moon groaned. Her abdomen seemed to be trembling, and she almost fainted. Long Daesung roared in pain. It opened its mouth and spat out dragon essence to nourish the extremely weak Bamboo Moon. Its golden eyes were also red. It wanted to rush up and help Su Yan, but it could not do so at all. The three strongest armies of the Celestial Realm joined forces and formed an unparalleled killing formation to kill Su Yan. The hundreds of millions of troops outside the Emperor's city were dead silent. They saw Su Yan being injured continuously, and the bones in his body were breaking. This was an unbearable killing force that swept towards Su Yan. Princess, how did Su Yan wrong your celestial race? Why are you doing this to him? The heavenly dragon maiden shouted angrily. She pointed at the princess and said with trembling lips, "Are you going to join the three emperor clans if they are defeated?" "The three emperor clans will not be defeated." The princess was silent for a while. She replied coldly, "How can I control this situation? Everyone is on different sides, and there is no turning back now. Can you stop talking?" The Heavenly Force King shouted angrily and glared at the princess. He could not find any reason for the celestial race to send troops. He even thought that it was Su Yan who dominated the world and stole their prestige. The Heavenly Dragon Maiden thought that suppressing Su Yan would make it easier to explore the Emperor's repository Dao Cave. This was exactly what the celestial race wanted. The princess looked bitter and did not speak anymore. "I, Su Yan, will not lose to you bastards," Su Yan roared at the sky. His ferocious aura was still present. His pupils were about to turn golden and flowed with killing intent. An enormous figure soared behind him. He was situated in the vast universe, like a supreme emperor descending upon the world. Su Yan swung the heaven-bearing fist, and the figure behind him moved, revealing infinite power. He wanted to fight to the 9 heavens and kill the 3 emperor clans. Kill! Su Yan's roar resounded through the heavens as he unleashed his strongest combat prowess, causing the laws of order that rolled down from the sky to shatter. A rain of light sprinkled down from the sky and exploded beside Su Yan. He turned into a furious giant spirit warrior, immortal, and rushed forward. He gathered his most terrifying foundation and wanted to kill the 3 emperor clans. Outside the city, the roars were like thunder. Countless soldiers were hot-blooded and shouted, wanting to cheer for Su Yan. However, this path was too difficult. Su Yan suddenly reversed his battle prowess and erupted with his strongest foundation to resist. However, the 3 Emperor formation was known as the strongest formation in the immortal world. Once this formation was formed, it would erupt endlessly. Kill, kill, kill. The soldiers of the 3 Emperor clans shouted in unison. Their bodies burned even more fiercely. They were the source of energy, the eye of the formation. Naturally, Su Yan could see the source of the 3 Emperor formation. He was anxious to kill them. However, the activation of the three Emperor formation at this moment was really frightening. It was as if a condensed celestial realm was above them. Boom! The sky was filled with killing light. There was lightning, fire, wind, a sword embryo, a huge cauldron. It was as if it was going to pierce through the heavens and kill all the traitors. In such a vast storm of killing, the laws of order in Su Yan's body started to collapse endlessly. The supreme suppressive power affected Su Yan's physical body. He cried out in pain. His head cracked, and his body was about to explode into a bloody light. Buzz! Su Yan's primordial spirit erupted. His body and soul were indestructible. The forbidden primordial spirit flowed down and covered Su Yan's body that was about to shatter. He roared crazily, and his eyes shot out thick lightning. He waved the heaven-burying fist, and the destructive laws in the sky were shattered. A streak of blood shot up into the sky. On the road, Su Yan fought crazily. He didn't care about the injuries on his body and used his strongest strength to kill his way to the end. During the process, a huge cauldron formed by the law of order pressed down on Su Yan's back, causing blood to flow out of his mouth and nose. There is also a dazzling golden sword embryo that pierced into Su Yan's chest with a tearing sound, almost piercing through his chest completely. There is also a dazzling silver battle spear that almost shattered Su Yan's shoulder. His injuries continued to worsen. Su Yan's body was full of cracks and bloody holes. In fact, if he didn't have the forbidden primordial spirit protecting his true body and the 10-colored blood, giving Su Yan a source of power, he wouldn't have been able to hold on until now. Su Yan, it's too hard. The huge imperial city was extremely quiet. Many people looked at Su Yan, who was still charging. They saw that he was covered in wounds, that he kept coughing up blood, and that his body was in danger of completely collapsing several times. Many people's eyes were bloodshot, and some were crying. He was supposed to be the immortal world's war god, the future war god who would deter the dark world. Why did he have to endure all this? The immortal world couldn't tolerate Su Yan anymore. Give up. Su Yan, I respect you as a man. Don't continue. At least you can leave a complete corpse and return to the human world. In the army of the three emperors, a soldier shouted with red eyes. He admired this person from the bottom of his heart. If he continued, Su Yan would definitely die in battle. There wouldn't even be a bone left. The terrifying pressure enveloped Su Yan's body. His aura had already started to decline. He was like a trapped beast, pale and powerless. Everyone cried out in grief. Su Yan was going to be defeated. Su Yan shouted. His majestic appearance was still intimidating, and he still emitted an invincible aura. Admit defeat. You can't come up. The soldiers in the army of the three emperors roared. The three emperors were ganging up on one person. It was an unfair victory, but they couldn't be merciful. They couldn't give Su Yan any chance to kill his way up. Since they were in different camps, they could only kill. Wait for me to kill my way up and kill all of you, Su Yan shouted. These weren't arrogant words. Su Yan had such an invincible foundation. In the vast immortal world, other than Su Yan, no one else had the qualifications to say such words. Suddenly facing the misfortune of being suppressed, no one dared to sneer at Su Yan. His strength had been recognized by the world. Bastard, kill him, a general shouted. The army of the three emperors emitted a bone-chilling killing intent. The Milky Way from the 9 heavens descended, and all things in the world appeared. They emitted an extremely powerful and domineering killing intent that surged towards Su Yan. The storm in the Emperor's city overflowed. Was it going to end? Was it going to end? Emperor's suppression art. Su Yan's hair was disheveled. His roar shook time and space. Facing the destructive torrent, he didn't stop resisting. The heaven suppression art erupted, crossing and exploring an extremely terrifying domain. It was as if he had come into contact with a vast world. Vaguely, a figure that could suppress the past, present, and future rose behind Su Yan. It affected the river of time. It was so terrifying that it was like an emperor that could suppress the universe. Gradually, This silhouette transformed into a huge and ancient seal that was about to suppress all enemies. This extremely terrifying fluctuation was simply about to cover the entire battlefield, crush the immortal world, and collapse the army of the three emperors. However, this secret art was too extraordinary. Emperor's suppression art. Just these few words showed the supremacy of this secret art. It was beyond the scope of the emperors and could suppress everything. Su Yan, hold on. You can't lose to this group of vile people. Bao Kai roared mournfully. Tears rolled down his face. He saw Su Yan's body cracking and bleeding. He was using a forbidden art to kill his way up and break the situation. Chapter 2061. The ultimate power of the three emperor formation had been unleashed. It was as if the purgatory space-time had been completely combined. In the purgatory space, a blood-stained war god was making his final struggle. The Starry Sky Emperor let out a long sigh. He was examining himself. Was what he had done right? After crippling Su Yan, the celestial world had lost a peerless overlord. They had lost a heavenly king who could hold up half the sky of the celestial world in the future, forcing the space-time emperor and the rest to break off relations with the celestial world. If things had gone back to how it was before, and the young emperor had been eliminated, all of this could have been salvaged. However, there was no point in thinking about this now. Who would have thought that Su Yan could really fight on in the titled Emperor battlefield and force out the strongest army of the three emperor clans? Even the emperors of the celestial world knew that the lineup was different. Since Su Yan could not be used by them and could not become a sharp sword of the celestial world, he could threaten the celestial world in the future. Therefore, he must die here. Boom! The peerless and terrifying killing field had begun to cover Su Yan's flesh shell. It penetrated his bones and blood and completely ground him to pieces. Su Yan's body burned with 10-color blood, but his body was not strong enough to help Su Yan cast the Emperor Suppression Art. He had no choice but to borrow the power of his bloodline to emit an immeasurable amount of divine energy that penetrated into Su Yan's body. Boom! In an instant, the world's killing field trembled violently. This was an unimaginable suppression power. It was terrifying, as if it was destroying the world. The ancient seal behind Su Yan's back shook the vast universe. It sprinkled down brilliant and blurry divine light. The aura it emitted was enough to suppress the past, present, and future. What kind of secret art is this? The faces of the three emperor clans' experts changed. The ancient three emperor formation seemed to have solidified. The killing field seemed to have stiffened, and large cracks began to appear in some areas. The three emperor formation seemed to be sinking. The extremely majestic heavenly might swept to the peak of the universe, suppressing the hearts and minds of the soldiers one after another. The army of the three great monarchs instantly roared. All the soldiers' blood essence was burning. They looked extremely ferocious and forcefully shook the peerless suppression in the sky. It started to tremble and was about to completely collapse. Su Yan let out a low roar. Blood sprayed out from his body. He couldn't fully unleash the Emperor Suppression Art. His body couldn't withstand this supreme art. Once he used it, his body would directly self-destruct and cease to exist. Uffed, Su Yan coughed out mouthfuls of blood. The monarch suppression art that intimidated the army of three monarchs gradually turned blurry and faded away, as if it was about to disappear from the heavens and earth. Su Yan, it's time for you to go. Suddenly, a severely injured young battle god pounced toward Su Yan. He was a peak expert from the reincarnation imperial tribe. He raised his hand and slammed it towards Su Yan's mangled body. Shameless, many people shouted. Even at this moment, he couldn't wait to kill Su Yan. The bloody palm landed heavily on Su Yan's chest. Su Yan's body let out a thunderous sound. Blood splattered on the ground. His chest burst open and almost shattered Su Yan's heart. The intense pain caused Su Yan to let out a long roar. His body emitted boundless anger and killing intent. You, the young battle god from the reincarnation imperial tribe, was shocked. He used all his strength to launch a palm strike. It landed on Su Yan's chest, but it didn't completely destroy his body. Moreover, there was an energy that blocked his palm strike. How strong was Su Yan's body? How dare a clown sneak attack me? Su Yan roared. His eyes suddenly blazed with flames. It was as if two world-burning lotuses were blooming. In an instant, he swallowed the reincarnation Imperial Tribe expert who was facing him. Ah! In an instant, he screamed miserably. His eyes were shattered. His entire head was burning. Even his primordial spirit was almost incinerated. His blood-curdling screams became even louder. Su Yan's palm directly grabbed his body and tore it apart alive. Roar! Su Yan roared. He was bathed in blood. His broken body glowed. The stealing heaven technique swallowed the human body medicine in his body. He obtained a vital portion of energy for his body that was riddled with holes. He can still withstand it. He still dares to commit murder. Kill him. Don't show mercy. Kill. The experts from the 3 great Emperor legions were furious. Su Yan had actually killed a young martial immortal. It was truly humiliating. Even if I die suddenly, I won't die in the hands of you bastards. Su Yan's anger burned fiercely. He revealed a peerless, ferocious aura. He wanted to explode and destroy the 3 Imperial armies. Even if he died suddenly, he wouldn't die in such a sullen manner. Even if he died, he would kill them all. Boom! The sky was filled with killing intent once again. It was still so powerful, domineering, and terrifying. It covered Su Yan's body and mind endlessly. His body was already torn apart. If it wasn't for the taboo primordial spirit protecting Su Yan, his body would have exploded long ago. He wouldn't have been able to hold on until now. The sky was filled with blood. The battle god prince was about to die. At this moment, it was already very difficult for Su Yan to continue struggling. His battle strength had declined too severely. His body trembled. Su Yan's face was dyed red with blood. His eyes were also turning red. Su Yan vaguely glanced at Bamboo Moon. Looking at her sad look and her big belly, Su Yan's heart ached. If he really died in the battlefield, he would be letting down Bamboo Moon and his unborn child. Su Yan didn't turn back. He didn't want to leave the immortal world like a pitiful worm. Su Yan, if you die here and are forced to death by them, I will take our child and leave the Imperial City. Our child will definitely stand up in the future and avenge you and his father. Bamboo Moon's tears were blurred. She sobbed in her heart. Space-time Emperor, if I die in battle, don't stand up for me. I only beg you to escort my wife and brother away. I beg you. Su Yan transmitted a message to the Space-time Emperor. Child, you are already very strong. If you die in battle, I will take care of it properly. When I have no more worries in the future, I will kill the 3 Imperial armies for you and comfort your soul in heaven. The Space-time Emperor's fists trembled. His body was on the verge of collapse. His heart was filled with pain. Su Yan really couldn't hold on anymore. Su Yan roared. He returned to normal and was filled with killing intent and fighting spirit. He was still persevering. He wanted to turn into an invincible demon god and kill all enemies. He couldn't destroy the suppression of heaven and earth. However, Su Yan tried to grasp it again. He wouldn't sit and wait for death. He wanted to use all the trump cards that could kill his way out to resist. In this destroyed space-time world, Su Yan was able to see more. Dazzling golden veins appeared in his bleeding pupils, and they even appeared on his body. Even his bones and drops of blood appeared. It was as if they contained the great treasures of the heavens. It was as if millions of golden patterns covered Su Yan's flesh and blood, turning it into a human body diagram. They activated the great treasures of his declining body. Suddenly, a terrifying resonance was formed with this world that was heading toward destruction. Heaven, earth, man! Su Yan let out a dreamlike voice. He turned into an ordinary person. He was very calm and quiet. Then, he let out a clear cry that shook the heavens. All things in the world, the boundless myriad tribulations, all become one. Su Yan raised his head. His eyes were deep. Millions of patterns appeared. They were so profound that they wanted to encompass the entire universe. Kill! The battle cries continued. The boundless killing energy completely drowned the place where Su Yan was standing. No, Too many people cried out in grief. They couldn't bear to see the war god Imperial Prince defeated and killed. The sky filled, the killing intent was like an ocean. It completely crushed the place where Su Yin was standing. What could be left? What could be left? Zhu Tiandi sighed. Su Yin was so terrifying that he wanted to spare his life. However, it was a pity. With Su Yan's spirit and willpower, even if he was spared, he couldn't become a sharp sword of the immortal world. He had to kill him to prevent future troubles. Is it over? Phoenix King cried out. Poor child. I shouldn't have let you stay in the immortal world back then. The killing intent was like a tsunami as it continued to descend. They would not stop until Su Yan's body and soul were completely destroyed. What's that? Suddenly, someone roared. They saw a bloody figure within the surging sea of killing intent. He was still there and was dyed with a bloody glow. However, at this moment, Su Yin was like an unparalleled war god that had ruled over the past and present. It was an intimidating sight. He was still alive. The imperial city was in an uproar. He was still alive. Su Yin hadn't completely fallen. In an instant, Su Yan's palms rose. One was still and the other was moving. An extremely grand aura spread out. Su Yan's body also completely changed. It turned into a mysterious human body diagram and merged with the universe of destruction. Suddenly, Su Yin seemed to have turned into a supreme god. Bright runes appeared between heaven and earth. It was as if a golden age had opened and grasped the torrent of history. That's Space-Time Emperor's eyes widened. He looked at Su Yin. He felt that Su Yin was a little blurry and illusory. There was even an extremely terrifying, mysterious aura that he couldn't see through. What kind of Tao was this? What kind of technique was this? This was close to the supreme mystery that only the emperors could grasp. It originated from the universe and corresponded to Su Yan's body. In an instant, it made him seem boundlessly terrifying. Heaven and earth rumbled. Bright runes appeared and turned into divine seeds that filled the sky. There were gods and devils that were born. The power of activation was too shocking. Between being still and moving, he operated the heavens and 10 earths. How is this possible? The immortal kings cried out in horror. Su Yin was completely different. He was as terrifying as a supreme ruler. The gods and devils that filled the sky turned into divine seeds and bowed to Su Yin. He seemed to have turned into the lord of a great world. Crack. The supreme killing energy covered the battlefield and suddenly collapsed. It should be said that it started to distort. As Su Yin waved his palms, even the soldiers of the 3 emperors' legions were distorted. These people were terrified. This was a supreme power that originated from heaven and earth. It originated from the profound power of the heavens, causing their bodies to distort uncontrollably. This power didn't belong to Su Yin, but he borrowed it completely. Borrowing the laws of heaven and earth, millions of blurry and illusory palm prints suddenly appeared on the emperor's sealed battlefield. In fact, as Su Yin waved his palm prints faster, the distortion of the 3 emperors' legions also started to accelerate. Many soldiers couldn't withstand it. What kind of power was this? With Su Yin as the core, the universe revolved fiercely. It was countless times more terrifying. It was simply moving the immortal world. In the end, Su Yin let out a loud roar. Heaven and earth rumbled, distorted, and trembled. In the end, this world, this battlefield, turned into a huge cosmic whirlpool. This was a shocking scene. The battlefield space-time revolved within his palms. Heavenly revolving palm. The entire space-time, the entire world, and the soldiers that filled the sky suddenly rumbled and shook amidst the distortion and madness. It was as if the heavens were collapsing. As Su Yan's palm force circulated to the extreme, everything in the Emperor's sealed battlefield was distorted to the extreme. Suddenly it exploded. The firmament collapsed, and the bloodlight was like a sea. The total destruction of the 3 Emperor's legions. This was a ridiculous event that had never happened before. It shook the immortal world and swept through the boundless space-time. It caused the immortal world's emperor clans to panic and unease. Total destruction. Chapter 2062. The heavens exploded. A doomsday calamity was formed. It was too horrible to look at. The sky was filled with bloody light. There were no broken bones, no flesh and blood. It was completely bloody light that scattered, rumbling as it poured out. All of it swept the 9 heavens in reverse, dyeing the space outside the heavens red. A corner of the celestial world was dyed with bloody light, roaring and howling. It was so terrifying that it was simply like the end of the world. The world was blood red, as if millions and millions of lives had fallen here. The entire Emperor battlefield was filled with a sea of blood, this terrifying scene overflowing into the heavens. This was the cruel scene of the demon lord fighting in the 9 heavens, slaughtering the 3 emperor armies. Su Yin knelt on one knee, his bleeding hair scattered, covering his face. The sky was filled with bloody light, roaring and surging, indicating a great calamity, a great disaster. A rain of blood poured down. That figure kneeling on one knee in the Emperor battlefield revealed a peerlessly domineering aura. No, even the Empress felt fear. The sky was filled with blood, dyeing the destroyed heavens red. The entire Monarch Seal battlefield was in an uproar. Chaotic chi rose into the air, flowing with a bloody glow. It was so terrifying that even the immortal kings felt their scalps go numb. Every single one of them felt a chill from head to toe. They were all trembling while their hearts were filled with terror. How is this possible? Absolute Heavenly Emperor and Immortal Martial Emperor cried out miserably. That was the 3 Emperor armies. Although a total of 50,000 soldiers came, the 3 Emperor armies only had 300,000 soldiers. Su Yan's palm technique that operated the heavens directly heavily injured the 3 Emperor armies, also destroying the Emperor race's final face, destroying the strongest army of the celestial world. One person intimidated the 9 heavens and 10 earths, invincible since ancient times. Countless disciples of Celestial Cave were trembling, their hearts filled with fear. Such a terrifying and invincible existence, dominating the world. Who could contend against him? An extremely terrifying figure waved his palm technique, commanding the heavens, suppressing all of the 3 Emperor armies. This was like a dream, unreal, unimaginable bloody event. The huge Emperor city was trembling. Countless people's hearts really couldn't take it anymore. Such a situation was destroyed by Su Yan, and in such a terrifying manner. Phoenix King and the old monkey looked at each other, as if they could imagine that this was the peerless inheritance from the world's #1 mountain peak, heaven transferring palm, transferring the power of the 3 heavens. Invincible, invincible, invincible. Outside the imperial city, countless soldiers roared, their emotions exploding. Only by roaring could they vent their emotions. The Phoenix King and the others trembled, truly shedding tears. It was broken or was destroyed. The legend of invincibility could not be changed. The more he fought, the stronger he became, and the braver he became. On this day, Su Yan had already reached a level where even the young war gods didn't dare to look him in the eye. His strength made all the powerhouses in the world pale in comparison. One person, who looked down on the past and present, his heavy and blood-stained figure, knelt on the arena with one knee, displaying his invincible glory. Su Yan is invincible. Ha ha ha, this is ridiculous. The strongest army of the 3 monarch legions in the immortal world couldn't even suppress Su Yan. The monarch race members screamed. At this moment, they didn't feel humiliated anymore. Su Yan was too strong. He had already reached the point where he could look down on the immortal world. He was the only young paragon in the immortal world. No one could stand in front of him. The Thunder Immortal Emperor's face was malevolent, but his eyes were filled with greed. What kind of palm technique was that? It was unheard of. They had never seen such an evil palm technique. Even in the human world at its peak, there was definitely no such palm technique. After all, once the heavenly revolving palm was activated, the universe of the heavens would be entrenched in Su Yan's palm. Borrowing the power of the heavens and earth, it operated the heavens and looked down on everything. This was a truly unrivaled ultimate skill, a peerless secret inheritance. Cough, cough. Su Yin coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. His entire body was riddled with holes, and they were all falling apart. His body was really rotten, and it was too horrible to look at. He was paralyzed in a pool of blood, and it was difficult for him to climb up. In this battle, Su Yin used all his trump cards and fought to the limit. His body was extremely old, and he could die at any moment. I survived, Su Yin muttered to himself. He lay in a pool of blood and looked at the blood-red sky. In the end, he survived, comprehended the heaven-transferring palm, and crushed the army of the three emperors. But what should he do next? Could he still leave the imperial city alive? Could he still leave for the human world alive? Once he reached the limit of a path, the following path would definitely be harder and harder. Boom, boom. Two figures crawled out from the bloody monarch battleground all of a sudden. These two figures were too malevolent. Their bodies were full of cracks, and they were about to self-destruct. But they were still alive and survived the fatal attack of the heaven-transferring palm. Not good. Tai Baotsai's face was ugly. The immortal lord and heavenly eye vision monarch were not completely dead, and they even climbed up. The current Su Yin was so weak that he couldn't even climb up. How could he resist them? Roar. The two experts' bodies were bleeding, and they let out beast-like roars. The emperor blood in their bodies was burning, and it turned into energy to nourish their broken bodies. At the same time, they looked at Su Yin with extremely malevolent eyes. That's your fate. The two experts screamed, and bloody light surged from their bodies. They were like demons that crawled out from hell, and they attacked Su Yin crazily. Su Yin is finished. Go on your way. Don't struggle anymore. Although the immortal lord and heavenly eye vision monarch were heavily injured, they still had some fighting strength left. They attacked crazily, wanting to kill Su Yin. Hope burned in the hearts of the emperor's experts. There was still a chance. Send out the troops. At the same time, in the time domain, Zhu Tiandi roared, send out the troops quickly and cooperate with them to kill Su Yin. Quick! A large number of soldiers and horses quickly gathered. Although they could not deploy the other armies of the three great emperors in a short period of time, they had a large number of their soldiers and horses in the imperial city. Could it be that they could not kill an exhausted Su Yin? Enough! The space-time emperor roared. Do you still have any dignity? The dignity of your emperor's ancestors has been lost by you. Space-time emperor, I advise you not to stop us. Otherwise, you will die here. The immortal martial emperor gave the cruelest warning. The three emperor armies had lost so many elites, and his heart was bleeding. These were the elite soldiers that their emperors had accumulated over a long period of time, but they were killed by Su Yin just like that. Ha ha! Then come. The space-time emperor, still have the strength to fight. The space-time emperor roared in grief and anger. If I die today, I will drag one or two down with me. The atmosphere in the imperial city was extremely tense. The battle between emperors was about to begin, and the entire world was filled with destruction. Let them come. A weak voice sounded. With blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, he said in a trembling voice, let them come. I still have the strength to fight. Su Yin, don't force yourself. I'm ashamed to face you. The space-time emperor clenched his fists. Could Su Yin still stand? Although the three emperor armies had lost 50,000 elite soldiers, they could still mobilize 100,000 more. The celestial world has a bunch of smelly rats. It is not your fault. Su Yin's voice was intermittent, and his body was bleeding. He said in a trembling voice, even if they send another 100,000 soldiers, they will not be able to enter. The Emperor's sealed battlefield has already sealed itself. The world was in an uproar. The severity of these words was too terrifying. This was because Su Yin had obtained the qualifications to be crowned emperor for the second time. However, there was an emperor above the imperial city, which caused the celestial world's great fortune to not sweep over. The space-time emperor roared in grief and clenched his fists. He was mad with hatred. The old dragon came and grabbed the space-time emperor's arm. He said in a low voice, "Old brother, calm down. Once you attack, they will take the opportunity to break into the Emperor's sealed battlefield. At that time, everything will be lost. Hold on. I hope you can protect Su Yin and help him become an emperor. Su Yin, you can't even get up. How are you going to fight? At this moment, the Immortal Lord was the first to attack. He raised his hand and slammed it down on Su Yin, who was paralyzed in a pool of blood. Jumping Clown, you and I are not on the same level. Why do I need to stand up to deal with you? Su Yan's words were filled with endless coldness. He pointed at the Immortal Lord with a finger. At first, the Immortal Lord was furious. Su Yan wanted to kill him with a finger. This was too arrogant. This was looking down on him. But gradually, he felt a chill in his heart. This finger was stained with blood. The instant it pressed down this ruined world, this bloody battlefield, it was as if it was reviving again. The pressure made the Immortal Lord feel suffocated. That secret technique, just now. The Immortal Lord felt that it was inconceivable. Su Yin was already injured to this extent, but he could still use that secret technique just now. This aura was too familiar. This ruined universe was reviving, revealing an ancient and terrifying divine might. It was vast and mighty, and in the process, it could be said that this universe was exploding. It was extremely terrifying. This was too domineering. A finger pressed forward. This posture once again shocked everyone in the Imperial City. Was the Immortal Lord weak, or was Su Yin too heaven-defying? In fact, the Immortal Lord even chose to escape. However, no matter how fast he was, he could not escape this battlefield world, nor could he leave this space-time. Suddenly, Su Yan's finger pressed heavily on the Immortal Lord's flesh shell. He let out a scream. All the bones in his body were broken. It was as if the entire universe was pressing down on his spine. His body was broken. No, the Immortal Lord screamed. In fact, he was not afraid of death. However, to be suppressed by Su Yan's finger in such a humiliating manner was worse than death. Puffed. He coughed up large mouthfuls of blood and was sent flying. He almost smashed into the body of the Heavenly Eye King, who was fleeing. Su Yan's finger was boundlessly large. He used the profundities of the heavenly palm. Su Yan had already comprehended this supreme secret technique. He could move the universe at any time, anywhere. The great stars in the sky were vast and mighty, and the sea of stars rumbled with it. Heavens! The deities lost control and cried out. They were like the howls of an invincible giant, unstoppable. Su Yan had completely transformed. It was as if he had been reborn from nirvana. His cultivation was so terrifying that it made the experts of the same generation feel despair. Who could contend against him? The Heavenly Eye King cried out mournfully. Su Yan's finger had not pressed down yet, but he could not hold on anymore. What kind of secret technique was this? It was so terrifying that it could operate the prosperity of the heavens and display battle prowess that surpassed the Emperor Dao. It was practically approaching the Immortal King realm. It was so terrifying that it was difficult to describe. In fact, if Su Yan's body could be much stronger, he could use the power of the Imperial City to kill the enemies of the heavens. The Xian people and the Reincarnation Emperor tribe, the two leaders of the younger generation, were like children in front of Su Yan. They were powerless to resist. Su Yan got up with difficulty. He walked step by step unsteadily toward the two powerhouses who were paralyzed on the ground. It's over. The immortal martial emperor and the others were almost paralyzed. It was completely over. Now that there was no more hope, even if more people came, it would not help the situation. There was already no one who could suppress Su Yan. Su Yan, spare their lives. Someone suddenly shouted. The Immortal Lord and the Heavenly Eye King are the top talents of the celestial world. If they die like this, it will be a great loss to the celestial world. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Su Yan's blood-stained hair danced in the wind. He looked up to the sky and laughed. So their lives are lives, and my life is not a life. Ha ha! He lifted his foot and stomped on the Immortal Lord's body. He looked extremely weak, but the stomp was still extremely domineering. It crushed half of the Immortal Lord's body, and blood splattered across the sky. Chapter 2063. Immortal Monarch screamed in agony, half of his body crumbling. It was a tragic sight. He was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. He who was high above had never been stepped on before, let alone facing death one day. Heavenly Eye Vision King also screamed in grief. This was worse than death. Su Yan's feet stepped on them, exuding a cold and austere aura. His blood-dyed hair scattered, covering his face, his aura so cold that it was suffocating. Su Yan's angry laughter echoed in Emperor City. Some of the people who spoke just now howled in grief. Immortal Monarch and the others were all very strong. They could enter the Immortal King realm in the future, or even stronger realms. But in the end, they didn't die on the battlefield, but were instead killed in Emperor City. You killed us, killed so many people, just to vent your anger. Immortal Monarch's eyes were blood red. He screamed, "In the end, you left behind a mess. Who are you trying to harm? Su Yan, you've already become a demon. You have no right or face here on the Emperor's sealed battlefield to speak to me like this." Su Yan lowered his head, looking down at him. He said coldly, "All of this was forced by you." The entire world was shaken, swept with an iron-blooded killing aura. Everyone in Emperor City cried out in grief. In the distant past, the Emperor's sealed battlefield had been opened before, but the casualties had never been so heavy. Those who died were all the elites of the Emperor race, batch after batch. They all fell on the Emperor's sealed battlefield. Today, the blood of the Emperor race flowed through this glorious city, similarly creating an invincible iron-blooded war god. The Emperor race's face was swept to the ground, their divine might falling. Too many things had happened in the past few days. The war god seedlings in the titled Emperor battlefield had all been slaughtered. Immortal Monarch and Heavenly Eye Vision Monarch, these two glorious experts, could only crawl in front of Su Yan and tremble in fear. Space-Time Emperor, why haven't you retreated? Ju Celestial Emperor and the Celestial Martial Monarch were enraged. They could not help but start a massacre. To them, the death of the three Monarch army's experts could still be nurtured, but the loss of the Celestial Monarch and the Celestial Eye Monarch was unbearable. If you dare to attack, the Imperial City will be reduced to ashes. Space-Time Emperor laughed coldly. He already didn't care, completely letting go. Since he wasn't a great immortal elder from Immortal Elder Academy, also decided not to pay attention to the matters of the three realms. Then Su Yan's life and death threat was the same as Space-Time Emperor's life and death threat. You want to rebel? The Imperial City that had been passed down for a long time rumbled fiercely, surging with an extremely terrifying imperial aura, causing the entire city to be overflowing with resplendent light. All living beings in the heavens felt as if they had fallen into a land of death. Their hearts trembled in fear, and many people felt as if their bodies were about to be torn apart. Once the emperors fought for supremacy here, the number of deaths would be immeasurable, and the losses of the celestial realm would be even greater. If you kill us, you won't be able to live either. Su Yan, you won't be able to walk out of Imperial City. The immortal monarch laughed angrily. You won't be able to leave. Su Yan, accept your fate. You can't win against the immortal world's Emperor clan. What's so great about fate? At least I'm still alive. As for you all, you're just a pile of wasteland. No one will remember you, but I, Su Yan, will make the world remember me. My blood will not be shed in vain. Su Yan roared, waving his fist, smashing down with blood. The immortal monarch's ruined body directly exploded into a bloody light, exploding in the void. Ah! The Heavenly Eye King roared angrily, struggling frantically. He didn't want to die in such a humiliating manner. He had already stepped into the Emperor domain, and there were even stronger realms waiting for him in the future. In the future, he would also become an immortal king. But now it was too late. He came with the strongest conviction, and now, of the 18 peak war gods, he was the only one left. Boom! Another fist smashed down. The Heavenly Eye King's body was also instantly blasted apart by Su Yan, flying towards the peak of the universe. His ruined body smashed into a star, scattering down a waterfall of bloody light. The Imperial City was completely shaken, and the majestic ancient city was rumbling. In a world occupied by the 5 great emperors, billions of living beings screamed in fear, feeling that they were really going to explode. The 5 great emperors' figures were dazzling and brilliant, illuminating the 9 heavens and 10 earths. An unparalleled storm formed, and the 5 great emperors were about to kill each other, their auras spreading. The great emperor's bloody battle. In a distant world, the experts from the various great sects who were rushing to the imperial city couldn't help but tremble. The imperial city spat out a frightening amount of energy, engulfing one ancient world after another, spreading across the vast space and time, triggering a shocking change in the immortal world. Rumble. The 5 great emperors rose from the ground one after another, their bodies supreme, like rulers overlooking the heavens. The invisible collision of essence, chi, and spirit had already set off a huge wave, and the universe was trembling. The great emperors were breathing, and the great emperors were emitting killing intent. Even when the essence, chi, and spirit of the 5 great emperors collided, it formed a scene of heaven and earth breaking apart. Boom! The great stars in the outer realms melted on their own, and then a huge bloody hole appeared. The entire outer realms began to shatter. The aura was too strong. This was the great emperors releasing their killing intent. What exactly happened in the imperial city? The old antiques, who came from the remote ancient world, lost their composure. Something huge must have happened in the imperial city. The 5 great emperors faced each other from a distance, and they could kill each other at any time. Especially in the imperial city, the vast divine might drown the entire city. Heavens, millions and millions of creatures were terrified. The divine might that couldn't be resisted continuously crushed downwards, able to slaughter all the creatures in the city with a single move. They felt despair. Once the 5 great monarchies fought here, it was unknown just how many experts would fall. Su Yan, the Thunder Immortal Emperor, rebuked angrily. Even now, you're still not willing to come out? Could it be that you're just going to watch the space-time emperor die? He's already old, and once he fights with us, he'll definitely die. How long are you going to make a ruckus? You've killed so many people, you won't be able to live. Since I've come back from the dead, killing you is not a problem. The space-time emperor replied coldly. You're really not going to back down? The immortal emperor's eyes were filled with anger, and he said in a thunderous voice, My patience is limited. Su Yan can't be crowned great emperor in the immortal world. You should know that. My patience is also limited. The space-time emperor sneered. If you dare to take a step forward, the imperial city will vanish. You're really going to rebel. The absolute heaven emperor said sternly, Since you're going to completely break off relations with the immortal world for a sinner from the lower world, we won't hold back anymore. Let's do it directly. The 3 great emperors chose to work together, and the imperial city swept out an apocalyptic killing intent. The creatures in the world trembled, and it was difficult to raise their heads. Su Yan, come down. The starry sky emperor sighed and walked out. There's no meaning in continuing like this. You can't leave the imperial city. You want me to come down? Sure. Tell the Tenrai of Beach to come out and kill himself to atone for his crimes. Su Yan's body was filled with murderous intent. His wounded body was dyed red with blood as he shouted, Young Emperor, are you still not coming out? As long as the young Emperor and the Tenrai of Beach die here, I, Su Yan, will come down right now. A dead man's life doesn't even belong to you. What right do you have to kill yourself to atone for your crimes? The immortal emperor said coldly. Old man, who dares to say that I, Su Yan, am guilty? Su Yan's blood-stained hair danced in the wind as he laughed out loud. Even now, the young emperor, the culprit, hasn't even shown his face. What bullshit immortal tribe? It's just a pile of trash, unworthy of being an emperor tribe. Bastard. The immortal emperor exuded boundless power as his giant hand swept across the sky towards the imperial battlefield. Space-time emperor, you dare to stop me from killing a sinner and bring the imperial city down with him? You're the #1 sinner in the immortal world. He really made a move. looking very domineering as he waved his giant hand towards the Imperial battlefield. Since the Xian people can convict the space-time emperor so easily, count me in as well. Old Song Long stood out. 4 great emperors against 2 great emperors. This was quite a shocking scene. The imperial city spat out boundless killing order, causing the entire city to tremble violently. If it wasn't for the imperial city's super-strong defense, it would have been destroyed long ago. Suddenly, a sigh could be heard. The tense situation in the imperial city was broken. A figure walked out from the distant space and time, filling the sky with divine light that scattered down, forming a divine path. Like a divine spirit nurtured by the heavens, he walked towards the imperial city with a vast ancient emperor's aura. Spiritual emperor. Many people turned pale with fright. This was a rather ancient monarch, and the Spirit Clan was a hidden clan. There were very few people in this clan. The main reason was that the Spirit Clan was very special. Legend had it that the monarch of this clan was born from a divine treasure. There was only one emperor in the Spirit Clan, and he had lived for too long and rarely left the clan. "What are you doing here?" Thunder Immortal Emperor's expression was extremely ugly. This situation already made them badly battered. If another emperor came, the consequences would be extremely serious. "Old bastard, you came really slowly." Old Song Long was extremely dissatisfied. Immortal Emperor and the others' expressions were gloomy. The spiritual emperor was called over by Old Song Long, and they actually had such a deep relationship. After all, the other Emperor Clan experts didn't want to get involved in such deep water. Although the spiritual emperor looked old and gray-haired, the vitality in his body was too exuberant, showing no signs of decline. He said in a deep voice, "What a mess! Such a small matter can actually develop to this extent. Spiritual Emperor, I advise you to back off." Zhu Tian Emperor shouted coldly, "This matter concerns the blood debt of my clan. Don't interfere. I was asked by someone to settle the karma, so this old man came to help." The spiritual emperor's aura instantly became terrifying, turning into the most blazing sun in the immortal world. His figure suddenly became countless times more terrifying. The sky was filled with divine light, accompanied by the supreme law of order, instantly tearing apart the 9 layers of heaven. "Bastard, stop! Spiritual Emperor, don't make a mistake." Immortal Emperor and the others were instantly enraged. Spiritual Emperor, Space-Time Emperor, Old Song Long. The 3 emperors teamed up, instantly tearing apart the seal they set up. The moment the 9 layers of heaven collapsed, the heaven and earth blazed, as if it was illuminating the immortal world. The sky was filled with great fortune, and it seemed to have been brewing for a long time. In an instant, it submerged the entire Immortal Emperor battlefield. Not good. Thunder Immortal Emperor's eyes widened in anger. He didn't expect the great fortune of the immortal world to be brewing, and now it was like a violent storm. Spacetime Emperor laughed loudly. The great fortune had come. The 3 emperors teamed up to tear apart the seal, opening the path to Immortal Emperor for Su Yin once again. The entire Immortal Emperor battlefield was filled with auspicious clouds, billions of essence energy, piercing through the heavens, revealing a boundless great fortune. In the middle, a body riddled with scars, as if it had fallen into the womb of the immortal world, instantly became glorious. This was the supreme fortune that submerged Su Yin. He was like an unparalleled war god sleeping in the primal chaos, emitting a terrifying heavenly might. Long Day Song raised his head and roared. His hooves trampled on the ground as he bathed in the great fortune and continued to be crowned Immortal Emperor. The great fortune of the immortal world that had been brewing for a long time continued to submerge the Immortal Emperor battlefield, accompanied by the sea of sweet dew and countless fortune materials. Phoenix King was also excited. With Su Yan's current cultivation, once he recovered from his injuries, he would directly step into the forbidden domain. It was even possible for him to charge into an extremely terrifying realm. At the same time, a huge crack appeared on the Immortal Emperor battlefield. The Immortal King Fortune land had opened. The heavens have eyes. Su Yan's body instantly rose from the ground. He didn't hesitate at all and soared to the peak of the universe. His deteriorating body improved greatly during the process of jumping. Su Yan's body was filled with vitality energy. The bones in his body crackled, and his broken body was being reconstructed. It was simply as if he had swallowed an immortal emperor medicine. The process was shocking. In an extremely short period of time, Su Yan's body surged with yang energy, recovering rapidly towards the peak of the immortal domain. His blood-stained body was like a blood-colored comet, charging forward and shocking the universe. Stealing my fortune, the heavens have eyes. Tenrai of Beach, you trash, hand over your life. Su Yan roared towards the sky, his eyes flowing with killing intent. Chapter 2064. A great fortune had descended from the heavens, indicating that a titled monarch had appeared in the immortal world. The people of Darkness World were stunned. What was going on? Did another emperor appear in Celestial World? They were all in chaos. What exactly happened in the immortal realm? Why did two great emperors' fortunes appear in succession? Investigate. Investigate quickly. The Dark World's ancestor gods were a bit uneasy. Something big must have happened in the immortal world. Great fortunes had appeared one after another, and the end of the great war of immortals and devils was drawing near. The Dark World was extremely unwilling to accept this. But Su Yan was too strong, and the people of the Dark World had no choice but to avoid him. The immortal world didn't understand the black-clothed woman, but the Dark World knew exactly how strong the descendants of the Dark Emperor were. Report. The spies of the Dark World were a little crazy. They roared and returned to the camp of the Dark World in groups. What is it? The Black Heavenly King frowned and said coldly, "Why are you panicking? Isn't it just a soldier from the immortal realm? What's the big deal?" Fan Jian was so angry that his nose almost went crooked. What did he mean by little soldier? If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame Su Yan for being too powerful. He had refreshed the combat power system of the three realms. Fan Jian was also a ruler now, and his sword pack cultivation was extremely tyrannical. Reporting to my lord, he took the initiative to deliver himself to us, saying that he has big news. This surprised the Heavenly King of Black. He immediately thought of what happened in the celestial realm and shouted, "What news? How many immortal sources do you need?" Fan Jian was stunned, and his heart trembled. His expression was uncertain. It seemed like there were quite a number of experts who sold information to the Dark World. He felt a chill in his heart. In life, some people chased after money, some chased after beauties, some chased after the great Tao, and some chased after the path of the strong. How many immortal sources did you sell for the young emperor's information? Fan Jian asked in a low voice. He looked very calm and was prepared before he came. "Boy, are you here to die or to make a deal?" The Black Heavenly King's face was cold as he said coldly, "Don't ask about things you shouldn't ask. I have a deal that concerns the outcome of the immortal demon battlefield." Fan Jian's eyes were like cold lightning. Instead of giving the information to them for free, he might as well extort them. In any case, Fan Jian had completely thrown caution to the wind. The immortal domain had gone too far. The three large clans had joined forces to kill Su Yan. East Demon and the others might not be able to leave alive. Even if he died, he would not let them have an easy time. Although he was very clear that once this matter was sold to the celestial world, there would be a huge and terrifying change. But Fan Jian was willing to bear this infamy, and he was also willing to accept the endless karma. "What did you say?" The Black Heavenly King's expression changed. Although there were some experts in the immortal realm who often traded with them, such a terrifying transaction had never happened before. If the Dark World could make a comeback, this would be a great benefit, affecting the fate of the entire Dark World. Obviously, Heavenly King Black didn't believe him. "I'm Su Yan's sworn brother," Fan Jian roared. "Do you know what happened when two great fortunes were born in the immortal world? Good boy. You can even betray your brother. You're ruthless." Black Heavenly King laughed angrily. "You're not bad. Are you interested in joining the Dark World?" "I'm not interested in the Dark World. Fan Jian said coldly. Correction, I'm not betraying my brother. Besides, I'm from the human realm, not from the immortal realm. Then what do you want? Black Heavenly King was angry. Although Su Yin had broken through to the Emperor realm, he could kill himself at any time and work for the immortal realm. Don't forget, the great war of immortal and devil, since ancient times, had pitted the dark world against the human realm and the immortal realm. Although Su Yin had completed 3 battles, he could represent the human realm in another battle. I want 100 million immortal sources, Fan Jian said coldly, to ensure that Su Yin will not continue to fight. 100 million immortal sources. Black Heavenly King was shocked, but he felt that this was a good deal. Was the Dark World really afraid of Princess Le? Of course not. They were afraid of Su Yin. He pointed at Fan Jian and said, This is Su Yan's price? You can ask Su Yin to negotiate with me. As long as he says one word, I'll agree. Because immortal sources had no value to the Dark World. They were like wastelands. What? My big brother is not worth this price. Fan Jian's eyes were red as he growled. But this has nothing to do with Su Yin. I'll convince you. Give me 100 million immortal sources. I'm afraid you won't have the life to spend it. Black Heavenly King sneered. 100 million immortal sources. Even the emperors of the immortal realm will crush you. Do you understand, little thing? Even if you give it to me, I won't take it. Since you said you can take it out, it means that you, Black Heavenly King, still have some weight in the dark world. Fan Jian's tone was cold. I just need you ancestral gods to stand out and swear. Kid, my patience is limited, Black Heavenly King said angrily. Don't think that just because your primordial spirit is sealed, I can't dig out your memories. My request is simple. Ancestral gods from the dark world swear not to attack the human realm for 100,000 years, and I'll sell the information to you. This concerns the outcome of the great war of immortal and devil. Think about it yourself. Fan Jian growled. He came here with great determination and didn't plan to leave alive. Black Heavenly King felt that this kid was really something. He made a prompt decision and asked a few ancestral gods to vouch for him. The human realm was done for. This oath was too light. What did you say? Black Heavenly King was paralyzed when he heard the news. Immortal Monarch and the others were killed by Su Yin, and even the 2 great fortunes were caused by Su Yin being crowned emperor in one battle. This made Black Heavenly King go crazy. Were the people of the immortal realm really crazy? After saying this, Fan Jian ran away, not daring to stay a moment longer. When he was far away from the dark world, he growled, Am I doing the right thing? The dark world is also the mortal enemy of the human realm, but I can't care anymore. The 3 emperor clans are too much. Let them fight. Roar, no matter how big the karma is, Fan Jian, will take it. Immortal Realm's emperor clans are too much. Fan Jian felt that this world was getting crazier and crazier. If the 2 ancient worlds really fought, the heavens would be dyed red. At this moment, in the Immortal Realm's Emperor's City, the place where the Emperor's City bled, the great fortune descended like a flood. The land of fortune filled the sky, and the sweet dew rolled down like the sea, drowning the Emperor's sealed battlefield. The blazing figure, the unparalleled majesty, and the terrifying willpower indicated that a heavily injured war god had recovered in a short period of time. His damaged body received a shocking repair. Su Yan's flesh and blood seemed to be breathing with life. This was a supreme substance of fortune, terrifying to an inconceivable degree. It could be said that the Emperor medicine was blooming here. Roar! Su Yan roared towards the sky, as if he had transformed into a divine, immortal fetus. He rose from the ground and rushed towards the immortal king's land of fortune. Su Yan, you dare? The experts of the Thunder Immortal Emperor's bloodline were shocked. Once Su Yin killed his way into the immortal king's land of fortune, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Tenrai of Beach might very well die. The Thunder Immortal Emperor also screamed. He was the one who personally initiated the nurturing plan for the Tenrai of Beach. After a long period of nourishment, it was equivalent to being nurtured by the heavens. In the future, there was a great chance for him to enter the Emperor domain. The strength of the Tenrai of Beach was absolutely unquestionable. In the future, he would definitely be able to enter the immortal realm's most glorious war god. Kill! Su Yan roared and rushed towards the universe. He emitted a heaven-burning anger and rushed into the immortal king's land of fortune. Along the way, the saponified substance in the sky was like a vast ocean, following Su Yan's figure and flowing towards the immortal king's land of fortune. No matter where he ran, the immortal realm's great fortune would always follow Su Yan. Boom! The entire space-time of the immortal king's land of fortune spewed out dazzling, auspicious clouds. The energy and substance in it directly increased by tens of thousands of times. Among them, a thunder figure who was sitting cross-legged in the land of fortune, absorbing the immortal king's growth material, had already stepped into the emperor domain. Now, stimulated by the sea of fortune material, his flesh and blood body was extremely terrifying. So terrifying. What kind of fortune material is this? Could it be that I am favored by the heavens and taken care of by the origin of the immortal realm? The Tenrai of Beach shouted excitedly. He was about to go crazy. His body was blazing and full, spewing out the light of innate thunder and lightning, transmitting the chanting of the heaven-opening thunder scripture. The momentum became more and more intense, as if he had turned into an innate thunder body. If one observed carefully, one would discover that innate thunder and lightning runes were blooming one after another in the body of the Tenrai of Beach. Each rune was flickering with thunder and lightning, spewing out fluctuations that made the world tremble. The rumor is true. The Thunder Immortal Monarch was excited. It was said that the heaven-opening thunder scripture was most suitable for the innate thunder body. Once the innate thunder body reached the highest level, it would be comparable to the reincarnation of the heaven-opening thunder emperor. In order to cultivate the most powerful successor of this generation, the Thunder Immortal Monarch spent endless efforts to find the secret medicine of the heavens and started the plan to cultivate the Tenrai of Beach. With the current state of the Tenrai of Beach physique, he was already qualified. The thunder and lightning that filled the sky automatically emitted a terrifying light, steaming with the majesty of the heaven-opening thunder scripture. It was extremely shocking. Once the Tenrai of Beach ascended the throne in the future, he would definitely be able to establish a sovereign clan that was not inferior to the supreme orthodoxies of the Xian people. Spiritual sovereign monarch, the Thunder Immortal Monarch said furiously, "Tell Su Yan that as long as he lets the Tenrai of Beach go, I will withdraw. Do you think it's possible?" The Space-Time Emperor's cold reply made the Thunder Immortal Monarch's expression change drastically. He wanted to send a message to the Tenrai of Beach to ask him to leave, but it was too late because Su Yan had already killed his way in. Boom! The Immortal King's fortune ground erupted with a torrent of energy. The aura was extremely powerful and domineering. In an instant, it pressed down on the Tenrai of Beach. Who? The Tenrai of Beach's expression changed drastically. Before he could see clearly who was coming, he was directly suppressed. Who is it? The Tenrai of Beach lost his self-control. The person who came was extremely terrifying. Moreover, he was emitting boundless killing intent, which made the Tenrai of Beach tremble. His body felt like it was going to split apart, and even his primordial spirit was trembling. Who was this person? The killing intent was too intense. It made the Tenrai of Beach tremble in fear. He felt endless fear. The entire Immortal King's fortune ground seemed like it was going to collapse. That person was bathed in golden radiance that filled the sky. The Tenrai of Beach could not open his eyes. Who are you? The Tenrai of Beach screamed miserably. This was because Su Yan had raised his foot and directly suppressed the Tenrai of Beach. What had happened? The Immortal King's fortune ground had 10,000 years to cultivate, but how many days had it been? Why did it open directly? He was even cruelly suppressed. He felt that an immortal king had come to kill him. In front of Su Yan, he was unable to struggle at all. Su Yan, stop! The Thunder Immortal Emperor roared. If you dare to kill him, I swear to slaughter everyone in your lineage. Thunder, immortal emperor. Before the Tenrai of Beach had the time to be happy, when he heard Su Yan's name, he felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. All the hair on his body stood on end. He looked at Su Yan in fear and said in a trembling voice, Su Yan, what happened to you? In an instant, the Tenrai of Beach noticed the bloody emperor battlefield. He roared in despair. His eyes were wide open. Could it be that Su Yan had become an immortal emperor in one battle? The heavens have eyes. Let me kill you. Su Yan's divine might was vast. His body was ready to move, and he was about to tear apart the forbidden level. He stepped on the Tenrai of Beach and roared. You should be smashed into pieces. Oh no, Su Yan, don't kill me. The Tenrai of Beach screamed miserably. No matter how powerful and terrifying his combat strength was, he was facing Su Yan, the invincible Su Yan. His body directly exploded. It was as if Su Yan had stepped on a bedbug. He was directly crushed alive and exploded into a ball of lightning. Chapter 2065. The Tenrai of Beach exploded. In the immortal King Fortune land, bloody lights surged. The Tenrai of Beach, who once looked down on an era of the universe, was directly stomped by Su Yan and exploded into a rain of lightning. The extremely bloody scene made all living beings tremble. The celestial world lost another peak, Overlord. In front of the Thunder Immortal Emperor, Su Yan was domineering. He stomped the Tenrai of Beach to death like a bug. Roar! The roar was like a sleeping prehistoric beast that suddenly woke up. The bloody lightning tore the 9 heavens apart. This indicated that a terrifying creature was going crazy. The huge imperial city was shaking violently. Buzz! The entire imperial city instantly shone. The age of this city was unimaginable. Now, under the fury of the monarch, it started to awaken. Endless shouts of killing were heard, and it was deafening. The imperial city shone as if it had turned into the universe, flowing with the light of the monarchs. However, the Thunder Immortal Emperor went crazy. Even though they were separated by the imperial city and the supreme order of laws, the aura of destruction still seeped in. In an instant, some areas of the imperial city were bleeding. A large number of cultivators were torn apart. They went on their way in fear and despair. Go! The imperial city was in chaos. The monarch's bloody battle could really erupt at any time. A large number of experts fled far away. The immortal king brought all living beings to the core area of the imperial city. The imperial city was huge. It was divided into tens of thousands of streets. However, the core area was completely different. The light of the monarchs was hazy. Only this area was safe. It could isolate the monarch's crazy heavenly might. Boom! The sea of monarchs' Tao lightning tore the 9 heavens apart and covered the entire imperial city. It also charged toward the immortal King Fortune land. Su Yan, give me your life. The Thunder Immortal Emperor was so angry that his heart and lungs were trembling. Even an invincible giant like him couldn't control his emotions. The descendant he valued the most, the Tenrai of Beach, was stomped to death by Su Yan. He didn't show any mercy at all. The wrath of the Thunder Immortal Emperor shocked all the supreme clans in the immortal world. It had only been 10 to 20 years since the fall of the tyrant Celestial Emperor. Now, the Thunder Immortal Emperor was releasing an incomparably furious killing intent. He raised a giant palm surrounded by billions of thunderbolts, revealing the power of the heaven-splitting Thunder Tao, and smashed towards the immortal King Fortune land. Boom! Suddenly, an old claw crossed the 9 heavens and covered the sky. It could be said to be the backbone of the 9 heavens. It faintly split open the river of time and suddenly stopped the giant palm of the Thunder Immortal Emperor. The terrifying confrontation caused mushroom clouds to splatter, destroying the heavens and exterminating the earth. Oh my God! Even the immortal kings shivered inwardly. The pressure of giants engulfed the boundless world, as if the great cosmos was sinking, crushing down on countless creatures until they felt suffocated and trembled, even producing great cracks in the distant ancient realms. In that instant, bloody light overflowed. More than 10 ancient realms in the distance were bleeding, the number of people who died incalculable. Everyone howled in grief. When monarchs clashed, human lives were like grass. Even the divine beings that filled the skies weren't enough. A corner of the immortal world was about to be dyed red by the blood radiance. Woo-woo sounds could be heard everywhere. Bastard. The immortal martial emperor's expression was unsightly. He resisted the urge to use force, because he was very clear that once a monarch's battle broke out in the core region, it would be an incomparably disastrous blow to the immortal world. At that time, the one who would suffer would still be the immortal world. Thunder, immortal emperor, save me. The miserable voice of the Tenrai of Beach suddenly reverberated. His primordial spirit was still intact. Even the flesh shell that exploded sputtered out densely packed, innate lightning imprints, as if it was a natural lightning Dao diagram. What a pity! The spirit sovereign emperor sighed. The foundation of the Tenrai of Beach was really heaven-defying. Even after his flesh body exploded, he didn't lose his life. Moreover, as long as he was given time, he could completely reconstruct it. For a person from the lower realm, you really don't care about anything else? The Thunder Immortal Emperor shouted angrily. Seizing the good fortune of others, his heart deserves death. The immortal world doesn't need scoundrels. The old Azure Dragon replied. This made the Thunder Immortal Emperor cry out in grief and indignation. Vast lightning radiance gushed out from his pores. This was but a powerful monarch. When he went crazy, even Absolute Celestial Emperor and the others paled slightly. In reality, among the three giants of Immortal Old Academy, Great Immortal Elder was the strongest. However, the Space-Time Emperor had declined, no longer having the might of his peak. Otherwise, if it was a long time ago, even if the Thunder Immortal Emperor and the old Azure Dragon worked together, they still wouldn't be able to stop the Space-Time Emperor. On the contrary, the Immortal Martial Emperor and the others wouldn't be enough either. There were strong and weak monarchs as well. Clean up the creatures in the nearby ancient world. We have to hurry. The Immortal Martial Emperor calmed down. The three great monarchs joined hands to protect Su Yin. This was to help him become an emperor. However, they definitely wouldn't agree. The Xian people would send other monarchs over. At that time, they would forcefully interfere with the source of the immortal world, and it would inevitably interrupt Su Yan's path to becoming an emperor again. Wang. Suddenly, inside the immortal king land of good fortune, a rain of lightning filled the sky, accompanied by grand sutra chanting. It was a bit ancient, a bit dignified, as if an ancient universe world was chanting the innate lightning scripture. That is, Yi Linyan was shocked. He stared at the Tenrai of Beak's shattered body that formed a special lightning rain, emitting an incomparably dignified and ancient aura. What was this? Why was it emitting an ancient aura that had been accumulated for a long time? Moreover, the shattered body of the Tenrai of Beak vaguely turned into a huge eye of lightning. The silver eye of lightning shot out lightning. As it swallowed and spat out, the fortune materials in the immortal king land of good fortune that everyone dreamed of were engulfed by the eye of lightning. This process was a bit frightening, and in this eye of lightning, a figure appeared, as if it was born from the core of heaven and earth, turning into a lightning war god. Heavens, this is a self-reconstruction. Just how heaven-defying is the foundation of the Tenrai of Beach. Even after being smashed to pieces, it can still be reconstructed. There is most likely an incredible treasure in his body. Everyone exclaimed. The eye of lightning kept swallowing, as if it was turning into a lightning saint fetus that was about to give birth to a new Tenrai of Beach. This is a supreme treasure? Su Yin was surprised. His palms slowly pressed forward. How powerful was his palm? However, the eye of lightning was shining and rumbling. It rumbled and fell down, filling the sky with lightning. Accompanied by the supreme law, it blocked Su Yan's palm power. Even this eye of lightning gradually became terrifying, as if it was about to turn into a huge lightning abyss that wanted to devour everything in the universe, turning into the eye of heaven and earth, the source of all fortune. Eye of lightning. The spiritual emperor was shocked and said, "This is the most ancient eye of lightning. Legend has it that was formed together with the creation of heaven and earth. It is the source of all lightning in the world." Could this legend be true? Even the old Azure Dragon was moved. If this was true, then this Tenrai of Beak's future achievements would be limitless. No wonder the Thunder Immortal Emperor was enraged. The Space-Time Emperor frowned slightly. Legend has it that the rise of the Thunder Immortal Emperor originated from the Three-World Mountain. Back then, he was lucky enough to encounter the Eye of Lightning nurtured by the heavens and obtain the innate lightning scripture from it. It seemed like the whole legend was true. However, he probably didn't obtain the complete Eye of Lightning. This was only part of it. Who would have thought that after he became a monarch, he was willing to use this item to nurture the Tenrai of Beach? No wonder the Thunder Immortal Emperor went crazy just now. Even Su Yin couldn't destroy the Eye of Lightning with his power. However, the Space-Time Emperor told Su Yin to subdue it. If this supreme treasure was destroyed, even monarchs would feel heartache. If he could subdue it, it would be a great opportunity. "Su Yin, you can't kill me." The primordial spirit of the Tenrai of Beach shouted ferociously, "I have the Eye of Lightning to protect my body and protect the foundation of my body. Even if you suddenly crush me, I can survive again and again." In an instant, Su Yan's frontal bone blazed and overflowing yang qi flowed out. The moment his primordial spirit broke into the forbidden area, his left and right hands pushed forward at the same time. Two huge karmic fire turned into lotus flowers and rushed towards the Eye of Lightning. This was the Red Lotus karmic fire and the Netherworld karmic fire. If these two flames were to mature, even immortal kings would be burned to death. Now, the two karmic fires were erupting. However, even if the karmic fire's temperature was very high, the Eye of Lightning absorbed a large amount of creation matter and became more and more powerful. The lightning patterns appeared and forcefully blocked the two karmic fires. "Su Yin, haha, you are helping me." The Tenrai of Beach shouted excitedly. The most powerful treasure in his body was opening. He seemed to be very crazy, indicating that his strongest era was about to arrive. Su Yan's expression was cold. His body was constantly absorbing the auspicious signs that filled the sky. His injuries were about to be completely healed. As the karmic fire burned, he discovered that the two karmic fires were absorbing the creation matter. This made Su Yin exclaim in surprise. As expected of the blessing matter scattered by an emperor, it could even help the karmic fire grow. "The heavens are helping me. Looks like my three disasters secret technique is about to be cultivated." Su Yan's eyes shot out cold lightning in all directions. His chest suddenly glowed as he activated the heavens stealing technique. Su Yan's figure emitted an extremely deep power that affected the immortal King Fortune Land. The boundless matter in the immortal King Fortune Land dimmed by a lot. In the next moment, the two karmic fires suddenly blazed by a large margin. A terrifying temperature was released. The void exploded, turning into a huge black hole. What is that? The immortal king felt his hair stand on end. He felt that his primordial spirit was about to be smelted, and even his body was about to be torn apart. In the destructive black hole, a pitch-black storm surged and raged between heaven and earth. It was like a gale that could destroy the universe. It howled, causing heaven and earth to be filled with extreme een and darkness. It was as if a sleeping devil king was awakening. The people of the world were stunned. What was that? Some forbidden experts' hair stood on end. They felt that once they fell into it, their bodies would be torn apart in an instant. This was even more terrifying than a cosmic storm. In the next moment, the world of extreme een and darkness was resplendent. A huge lotus flower bloomed, vaguely transforming into an extremely powerful and domineering lotus platform. It was about to kill the immortal king's primordial spirit. The red lotus karmic fire and a netherworld karmic fire were about to grow to their strongest state. The moment the two natural oddities fused and evolved the three disasters secret technique. The immortal King Fortune land was collapsing. Even the huge Eye of Lightning was collapsing. No, the Tenrai of Beach felt fear and despair. Su Yan's two karmic fires had grown. In just a flash, the Tenrai of Beach's primordial spirit was smelted. He screamed miserably. Why did this happen? I can't accept this. The Tenrai of Beach roared in grief. His primordial spirit was smelted and turned into ashes, disappearing from the world. The Thunder Immortal Emperor's eyes were bloodshot. His body trembled. He could not bear it. The Tenrai of Beach was completely dead. His primordial spirit was destroyed in an instant. Moreover, the treasure that he regarded as his life was also about to fall into Su Yan's hands. The two karmic fires directly swallowed the Eye of Lightning. This was nurturing the three disasters secret technique. Once the three natural oddities were combined, it would definitely be the judgment of the heavens. I still need a young emperor. Su Yan's black hair danced in the wind. His essence, qi, and spirit were released endlessly. The grief and indignation in his heart dissipated, and it was replaced by a strong fighting spirit. I want to become stronger. I want to become an emperor. I want to step into the immortal king realm. Su Yan roared in his heart. This was a great fortune. Once he grasped it, he might be able to approach the immortal king realm. Crack! There were shackles in his body that were torn apart. At the same time, in the immortal King Fortune land, terrifying chi and blood surged and drowned the sky. The stars in the sky were trembling, and the aura was climbing at a terrifying speed. Su Yan started to crazily break through and broke through the forbidden level. He bathed in the fortune of being an emperor and was about to complete a major breakthrough. Chapter 2066. The great emperor blessing descended upon the world. Auspicious colors overflowed, and purple clouds filled the sky. Sweet dew sprinkled down like the sea, divine and holy. Breaking through in such an environment, even the immortal kings were amazed. When will Su Yan obtain the emperor's fate title? Someone asked. He will obtain it at the end of the great fortune. The old expert sighed. But for Su Yan, the great fortune is the most important. He has already obtained the nourishment of the strongest creation in the immortal world, saving thousands of years of bitter cultivation. This is too important for Su Yan, who is standing in the golden age. That's right, Su Yan had grown a lot in a short time. Forbidden substances flowed out of his blazing, precious body. A source of power that could make the immortal Tao tremble had already been born. Come, I want to break through, Su Yan roared into the sky. His blazing body grew rapidly. His life essence was growing crazily. His flesh and blood gave birth to forbidden substances, and this speed was extremely shocking. One had to know that under normal circumstances, an Emperor Realm expert would need a lot of resources to step into the Forbidden Realm. The time would be relatively long, and there would even be lightning tribulation. But Su Yan was in the Great Emperor Blessing, and the heavenly tribulation did not exist at all. What a terrifying speed! The experts in the core area of the Emperor City were terrified. The heaven-defying god of war had once again begun to break through. It had been less than 10 years since Su Yan last stepped into the Emperor Realm. Now, he had opened the door to the Forbidden Realm. Everyone knew that Su Yan's cultivation was unfathomable. Now, he was bathing in the great fortune to grow. Rolling sweet dew sprinkled down on his body, giving him monstrous vitality. The auspicious clouds that filled the sky flowed along Su Yan's head to his limbs and bones. Even in this great fortune, there was also the exuberant source matter of the immortal world. It sprinkled inside his primordial spirit, helping it to grow rapidly. Soon, too soon, Su Yan's aura was violent. The powerful Dali energy in his body surged violently. Moreover, an extremely terrifying aura also began to be derived from the treasures in his body. Break! Su Yan roared loudly. His black hair danced wildly like a waterfall, and he was bathed in a great fortuitous encounter that even immortal kings would go red with envy. He charged forcefully, and the vital energy and blood in his body rippled with a myriad of layers. It was so vast that it almost covered the entire imperial city. Yi Linyun lost his composure. Su Yan's foundation was unparalleled in the world. Once he stepped into the forbidden domain, with the help of the great fortune bestowed upon him, it would not be as simple as a few small secret realms. It was very likely that he would be standing in an extremely shocking domain. Su Yan's corporeal body was blazing with light. Every bone was changing, every drop of blood was changing, and even every strand of hair was changing. The hazy aura of primal chaos was emitting the light of the universe. It was as if a sleeping giant was gradually growing up. Kill him. We can't let him complete his breakthrough. Thunder Immortal Emperor hated Su Yan to the bone. Moreover, in his current state, he was bathing in the great fortune bestowed upon him. It was very likely that he would step into the peak of the forbidden domain. Once the imperial city's killing trap failed to kill Su Yan, then when he stepped into the Immortal King realm, it indicated that he would once again be invincible under the Emperor realm. If Su Yan could become invincible in a series of universe secret realms in a short period of time, it was hard to imagine how intense the storm would be. Space-Time Emperor's expression was cold. He had seen through the killing intent. The four emperors were restless and were about to join forces to attack. After all, once Su Yan completed his breakthrough, he would be bestowed with the title of Emperor and receive the immortal world's Emperor's mandate, obtaining the protection of the immortal world. Rumble. However, just as Thunder Immortal Emperor joined forces with the immortal emperors to attack, from the Immortal King's place of fortune came waves of chanting. Every syllable was describing the origin of the Thunder Tao and the profoundness of the Thunder Tao. At the same time, the imperial city's atmosphere was completely silent. All the cultivators were intoxicated as they listened. It was as if heaven and earth Daozu was preaching the Tao, explaining the great profoundness of the Khanate Thunder Scripture. Especially for the experts who majored in the Thunder Tao, they had simply bumped into a great fortune. However, in just a short period of time, the imperial city emitted a monstrous killing intent. The sky was filled with the sound of thunder falling. It was all the supreme Emperor Tao law interweaving with lightning, as if it was about to destroy the world. Shut up. Thunder Immortal Emperor's eyes were blood red, and the thunder robe on his body was fluttering wildly. He was about to go crazy. Su Yan was chanting the heaven-opening thunder scripture in front of the entire world. This was a priceless, immortal treasure of the 10 great heaven-opening scriptures. Even the immortal emperors and the others were silent as they listened to Su Yan's Tao voice. They seemed to have comprehended something, and the killing intent they emitted gradually calmed down. Space-Time Emperor smiled, looking very happy. Su Yan's move was too beautiful. He had disintegrated their alliance. At the crucial moment, he recited the heaven-opening thunder scripture and took out the great fortune to share with the world. The immortal emperors and the others all chose to remain silent. They no longer joined hands with Thunder Immortal Emperor to kill Su Yan at this crucial moment. The immortal emperors were mad with anger. They roared until the sky collapsed, and the imperial city trembled. However, no matter how fierce their roars were, they couldn't affect the immortal king's fortune. They were all blocked by the might of the old Azure Dragon and the others. The spiritual emperor picked his ears. He clearly came to return the karma, but in the end, he was implicated in an even greater karma for no reason. This was one of the 10 great heaven-opening scriptures. Su Yan's breakthrough was even more domineering. The pores on his body were steaming with forbidden treasured splendor. His figure looked breathtaking, like a young great emperor standing in the middle of a great fortune, emitting the boundless heavenly might of the vast universe. The universe scripture received a comprehensive sublimation, giving birth to the forbidden order. It emitted a great divine might that spread throughout the imperial city. At the same time, Su Yan's primordial spirit sat cross-legged on the heaven-opening thunder eye. This was a corner of the heaven-opening thunder eye that was said to have accompanied the origin of the immortal world. The 10,000 chapters of the innate thunder scripture were inscribed. Su Yan also obtained the complete innate thunder scripture. Suddenly, Su Yan's figure completely changed. Boom! The sky was filled with forbidden, treasured splendor, breaking through the clouds and rushing towards the 9 heavens. It was as if the Milky Way was descending from the heavens. It was so grand that it really covered the entire imperial city. The grand chanting of the scripture indicated that Su Yan had completely stepped into the forbidden array. The Tao law order that appeared was the birth of a great universe. The heaven and earth were both yin and yang. Yin and yang mixed, giving birth to all things in the heavens and giving birth to unparalleled gods and devils. Among them was a terrifying figure. It was unknown how many tens of thousands of feet tall, standing in the Tao law universe. The great stars in the sky revolved around his hair. Between his palms and fingers, he was as imposing as a god of creation. Su Yan, charge! Tai Baokai and the others shouted excitedly. This kind of manifestation was unprecedented in the past and present. Su Yan's Dharma idol was grand to the extreme. Even the spirit paragon emperor sighed in admiration. What a peerless overlord! His Dharma idol was situated in the starry sea of the universe, like the ancestor of the universe entrenched between heaven and earth. It controlled the sun and all things in the universe, its might shaking the world. Visible to the naked eye in the vast universe, all things in the heavens were madly expanding. Xian Weihuan roared in extreme anger. Who didn't know that breaking through a realm in the forbidden domain required a long time? It would easily take hundreds of years, even thousands of years. However, Su Yan was bathed in great fortune. It was like a withered great universe, receiving the nourishment of the most divine and holy matter. Rain and dew fell, flowers and trees grew strong and healthy. The sun, moon, and stars enlarged one by one, enriching the vast aura of life. Many rivers turned into great rivers. This was Su Yan's energy foundation. The universe gradually expanded. This was Su Yan's inner universe Dharma idol world. These were all derived from Su Yan's Tao. This kind of growth required a long time of accumulation, and one needed to climb up the realm domain. However, Su Yan's growth speed made the immortal kings lose control and roar. It was too fast, and it was a little unreal. It was like a dream. Every breath that passed was as long as 10 years of forbidden cultivation. Who wouldn't be jealous? In fact, the great fortune of being crowned emperor had descended upon the world, seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. However, in the vast universe that nurtured Su Yan, the sky was filled with mysterious scriptures flowing in the universe. In the end, it erupted with billions of great Tao radiance, radiating toward the imperial city. Boom! Su Yan's aura was boundlessly powerful. In the end, he rose from the ground. His hands moved, and the universe's stars interweaved. They were infinitely compressed by Su Yan, turning into a condensed universe immortal cave. It flowed with a power that made forbidden experts tremble. Su Yan's black hair fluttered. His body was sparkling and translucent, flowing with immortal light. His appearance was dignified, and he emitted a vast heavenly might of the great Tao. It was like the sea striking the sky, violent and peerless. Act again. Su Yan's eyes were like lightning. His majestic appearance was awe-inspiring, and his bravery dominated the world. The condensed universe, suspended in his palms, suddenly released Tao patterns, instantly turning into a long saber. Slash! Su Yan carried the long saber and rushed into the sky. He let out a loud roar, and the saber energy shook the sky. It was vast and boundless, revealing the terrifying great mysteries of reincarnation. It split the sky apart, and the great stars in the sky fell uniformly, exploding in the starry sky. The long saber was as bright as snow, like the heavenly saber of reincarnation. It instantly turned into a sword core, grand and domineering, wanting to slaughter all the immortals in the world. With a sword, the gods and devils of the heavens seemed to have fallen, and a huge crack was cleaved open in the universe. Boom! In an instant, the sword light turned into a huge cauldron. It rumbled as it rotated. The primal chaos inside the cauldron was like the sea, reflecting the mountains, rivers, and all things. At the peak of the sky, it simply wanted to block the 9 heavens. Too arrogant. An expert from the reincarnation Imperial clan cried out miserably. This was a forbidden expert roaring with red eyes. This was too arrogant. Su Yan was cultivating in an ostentatious manner. Wasn't this showing off his invincible combat strength, telling the world that even though he had just broken through the taboo realm, he could still be invincible under the heavens? Shut up. The immortal king of the reincarnation Imperial clan shouted angrily. To think that you are a forbidden expert. Su Yan had already touched the peak of the forbidden great Tao. He could deduce the myriad Taos in the world at any time, and any path could lead him to the immortal king realm. However, Su Yan's deduction of the universe was too profound. It would definitely be extremely difficult to break through. This was the strongest Tao below the immortal king realm. It was incomparably profound. It was relatively difficult for the innerverse to give birth to the laws of the immortal king realm. Su Yan also didn't have any hopes of achieving it now. However, his physical body was still continuing to improve. The perfection of the heavenly revolving palm caused Su Yan's grasp of the mysteries of the physical body to reach great heights. He swallowed the great fortune that filled the sky, opened up the divine treasures of the human body, and evolved toward the terrifying level. This was a great opportunity. If he didn't take it, even the heavens wouldn't tolerate it. The 3 great monarchs protected Su Yan. He used the sky-opening thunder scripture to temporarily pacify the immortal martial emperor and the others. Su Yan had to become more and more powerful in this life and death period. Boom! Suddenly, the imperial city rumbled. Multicolored light and purple gas filled the sky. It was magnificent to the extreme. Accompanied by the hazy order of the Emperor Tao laws, it was as if the boundless universe of the immortal world had shrunk and appeared in front of Su Yan. It's here. The space-time emperor smiled. The strongest fortune was here. Su Yan fell into the immortal world's universe sea. Trillions of supreme laws of order penetrated Su Yan's body. He also saw a path to the emperor realm. Roar! Long Daesong suddenly roared violently. 9 blurry prehistoric dragons lay in his dragon body, revealing an unparalleled dragon might that transcended the past, present, and future. They were about to split open Daesong's body and rush into the Emperor's Sea. What the hell? Old Azure Dragon trembled in fright. His thoughts returned from the sky, opening Thunder Scripture's mysteries. He stared at Long Daesong. He saw one dragon after another, as if 9 dragon emperors were lying in Daesong's body. The dragons danced wildly. Old Azure Dragon's huge claws trembled. This was a F*King 10 transformations true dragon, a legendary supreme dragon species. Could this be the guardian divine dragon of the ancient celestial court? Chapter 2067. Long Daesong's golden hooves trampled on the void, rumbling as it ran towards the Emperor's Sea. The old Azure Dragon almost couldn't resist suppressing Long Daesong and forcing it to acknowledge him as its master. It had already decided to impart its lifetime's cultivation to Long Daesong. In the future, it would definitely become the strongest dragon race war god that would shake the 3 realms. Of course, the old Azure Dragon only fantasized for a moment before stopping there. A 10 transformation true dragon was a powerful species that surpassed it. How could it submit to the old Azure Dragon and bow like a disciple? However, this 10 transformation true dragon was in a bad state. It seemed that its energy hadn't awakened in its previous life. After all, Long Daesong almost died back then. It barely survived by drinking Su Yan's blood. Now, the potential of the 9 dragons was resonating in its body. It was enough to show that a complete 10 transformation true dragon was about to walk the path of an immortal king. Boom! The old Azure Dragon waved its sleeve and sent Long Daesong into the immortal King Fortune Land. Long Daesong cried out happily. It swallowed the great fortune substance that filled the world. It could even absorb and refine the energy substance in the sea. Back then, in the space of the stone book, Long Daesong had already evolved to the false immortal king realm. Now, under the baptism of the great fortune of the immortal world, he was infinitely close to the immortal king realm. It indicated that an immortal king war god was about to be born, rolling auspicious signs, and the great fortune of the immortal world scattered down. This was the supreme Tao law of the immortal world, flowing with a peerless aura. The immortal kings trembled. They wanted nothing more than to bathe in the strongest Tao law of the immortal world to grow. This was a great opportunity that everyone yearned for. Even the old monsters who came from remote areas couldn't control themselves. Their eyes turned red. At the same time, a group of immortal kings in the Emperor's city fell silent. They didn't even listen to the heaven-opening thunder scripture. They opened their minds to comprehend the Tao law of the immortal world. The deeper they comprehended, the more envious and extreme they were of Su Yan's opportunity. It could be said that the strongest door of the immortal world was opening for Su Yan. Once he fell into it, it indicated that an invincible giant would be born in the immortal world in the future. What a great opportunity! Su Yan's body flowed with the order of Tao laws. The majestic aura of the imperial sea continued to appear, resonating with Su Yan's figure. After all, this was an opportunity that belonged to Su Yan, a fortune that he obtained for being crowned imperial monarch in one battle. In reality, only a great success immortal king would have a chance of becoming an emperor. Once one comprehended the emperor Tao laws, they would be able to condense an emperor body, give birth to an emperor source, and form an emperor bloodline. Only then could one be called an emperor. The path to the heavens was known as the greatest realm in the immortal world. Although Su Yan hadn't comprehended the path to the immortal king realm, under the baptism of the Emperor's sea, his flesh and blood were infinitely awakened. It was as if an immortal king was ruling over the world. Boom! Su Yan's body was emitting auspicious signs that filled the sky. His pores were spewing out impurities and waste gases. It was as if he was being reborn, as if he was undergoing nirvana rebirth. It was a baptism that surpassed the knowledge of the world. The great fortune flowed in his body, tempering Su Yan's body. The bones in his body were broken and reconstructed, forcing out the impurities. His bones seemed to have turned into heavenly weapons of the great Tao. With clanging sounds, some broken bones flew out of his body and exploded into a rain of energy light. Su Yan is undergoing nirvana. It's equivalent to a type of Tao development. Bao Kai shouted excitedly. He saw that Su Yan's body was dyed red by a bloody light. These were the waste impurities that were excreted, and anyone could catch them. In the process, the deep and vast treasures of the human body in Su Yan's body were blooming layer by layer. His body seemed to have turned into a divine fetus that sees the creation of heaven and earth. It was densely covered with golden patterns. It was like the human body's heavenly diagram was growing. It contained the great profundities of the heavenly palm, causing the world of heaven and earth to rumble. His body was growing in the imperial sea. This was a crazy breakthrough and accelerated growth. His body's quality was strengthening at all times. There were no side effects caused by the rapid improvement. In short, his Tao was too profound. It was as if the Tao laws accompanied Su Yan. They adorned his figure, making him look like an emperor in the sky. Boom! In the blink of an eye, a long time seemed to have passed. Su Yan seemed to be running through time, traversing the years, stepping on the peak of the immortal world's Tao laws. Step by step, he advanced towards the great domain. The sound of Tao filled the sky like a sea. Su Yan's body spat out a universe paradise. As it rumbled and spun, the vast stars were like a sea, the mountains were as majestic as the ridges of the sky, and the inner Tao was as thick as the chaos. It resonated with the imperial sea. In an instant, Su Yan's inner universe, Tao, ocean, instantly blazed countless times. It was as if it had given birth to all things in the world, giving birth to billions of gods and demons. Terrifying Tao laws covered down, as if they were shaking the might of an immortal king. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled violently. The sun and moon sank. This was an extremely terrifying scene. It was as if the god of war had climbed to the peak of the 9 heavens and transformed into an invincible immortal king. Is he going to become an immortal king? Everyone cried out in alarm. The great fortune of being bestowed emperor. Could it be that it could give Su Yin the most powerful environment to grow in, strengthen in the most terrifying era? So people were about to go crazy. This was the natural luck of the immortal world. Now, it was being stolen by a human world war god who made Emperor's city bleed. The profound mysteries of the unmatched great methods. Su Yin roared out. This was a terrifying evolution. During this process, he encountered great restrictions. He didn't know where it came from either. He just felt like there were shackles in this world. Or perhaps this world seemed to be incomplete, not allowing the most powerful war god of the most powerful era to be born. The immortal world is flawed. For some reason, Su Yin said this. He felt like this great environment was flawed, unable to satisfy Su Yin's desire to enter the immortal king path. It was because his foundation was too powerful and abnormal. He had to stand on a complete world before he could unleash the most powerful breakthrough. Suddenly, Su Yin's flesh and blood blazed, as if it was welcoming a great explosion. His crazily strengthened body instantly forced out two masses of matter. The moment the black and white gas appeared, he felt that the great environment of the immortal world was rumbling. It was as if a broken dragon had been repaired and was about to become a complete, true dragon of the immortal world. How is this possible? Su Yan's eyes widened. He felt that the incomplete environment of the immortal world had been completely repaired. It was so majestic that it seemed to want to swallow the three worlds. What was going on? Did the black and white gas originate from the immortal world? Was the black and white gas a major factor in the immortal world's flaws? If that was the case, then could it be understood that back then, the Xian people joined forces with the dark world to attack the human world in order to find the black and white gas to repair the incomplete environment of the immortal world? But who took away the black and white gas? Stealing heaven art, Su Yin was shocked. He found that the stealing heaven art operating in the haze was many times more powerful than when he was operating it. It was as if a supreme expert who looked down on time and eternity was operating the stealing heaven art to drive the black and white gas into the environment of the immortal world. Could it be that once the black and white gas left him and escaped into the immortal world, it would directly allow the immortal world to have a complete universe environment? Or, since the stealing heaven art could drive the black and white gas, could it be understood that the immortal world's flaws were related to the celestial court? Was it the supergiant of the celestial court who stole the most powerful environment of the immortal world? Su Yin felt that it was inconceivable. It was ridiculous. He even found that forcing the black and white gas out of his body would be extremely bad for Su Yin. Su Yin's face was cold. Give it to the immortal world? He was really overthinking. This was his own good fortune. Putting aside whether or not he could confirm whether or not the thing the immortals were looking for was the black and white chi, the current situation meant that there was a major historical change in this item. He tried to drive the black and white gas and brand the complete environment of the immortal world into his body, but it was too difficult. The stealing heaven art had not been cultivated to the highest level. This could be understood as mending the heavens and restoring the complete environment of the immortal world. In the next moment, Su Yin used the stealing heaven art to drive the black and white gas. The Tao order filled the sky and swarmed towards Su Yin, as if an ownerless object had found home. Su Yin growled. His body was about to explode. The energy essence was too vast. It was difficult for him to bear and digest it. On the other hand, the Long Day Song swallowed a large amount. It became an immortal king faster than Su Yin and was almost at the end. Su Yin, what's wrong with you? Seeing Su Yin roaring, the Tai Baokai was uneasy. I'm fine. Su Yin's hair was disheveled and his body was about to be torn apart. He screamed, "The energy is too strong. It's hard to digest." Xian Wei Huan and the others were infuriated when they heard this. The celestial martial emperor and the others' faces were also cold. Su Yin was no longer chanting. They had obtained more than half of the sky-opening lightning scripture, but they lacked the most important essence of the scripture. However, the spiritual monarch and the others had obtained the complete scripture. The three monarchs wanted to settle down and go into seclusion to comprehend its essence. "What are you waiting for?" the Thunder Immortal Monarch roared. The Kane lightning scripture that he had guarded for many eras was leaked just like that. He wanted nothing more than to grind Su Yin into dust. If Su Yin was allowed to continue like this, the monarch fate would gradually form. He would obtain the monarch title and control the monarch fate of the immortal world. This also meant that it would be too difficult to kill Su Yin. As soon as these words were spoken, the peaceful Emperor's city was stirred up again. In the distant world, a huge figure appeared. His might shook the celestial world, and all the gods and devils prostrated themselves before his feet. Everywhere he passed, one ancient world after another returned to silence. Even the space-time outside the realm slowly froze. The heavens and earth were silent as a terrifying existence descended upon Emperor City. Domain Suppression Monarch. The Phoenix King's voice trembled. Another monarch had arrived among the Xian people. However, he wasn't the main character. The space-time of the outer realm suddenly darkened. It was as if a heavenly sovereign had descended from the heavens and let out a sigh that landed in everyone's heart. "We can't hold on anymore." The spiritual monarch felt bitter. The three monarch clans were reunited. The figure that descended from outer space was blurry and gloomy, as if he was walking at the peak of the nine heavens, scattering down surging scripture characters, making Emperor's City's great fortune endlessly dim. Even the Emperor's Sea began to dim. "The monarch is here." The Empress was silent. Only the sky-opening scripture could suppress the fortune of the immortal world and interfere with the path to becoming a monarch. At the same time, in the distant god and devil realm, in a sealed world, a place guarded by powerhouses, a great rift valley suddenly appeared. Not good. The expressions of many experts in this region changed. The immortal world's membrane was torn apart. A corner of a green sleeve swept out, suppressing everyone. They didn't even see the person clearly, only discovering that the old path Su Yin had broken through had collapsed. These people felt fear. Who exactly was it that had slaughtered their way here? Some people used trembling eyes to look at the collapsed great crack. The primal chaos inside was like a sea, berserk and violent. A green-clothed woman was born from within, carrying an ancient might. She flew over the waves, soaring towards the immortal world. There was also a woman whose large sleeves fluttered behind her. Her skin was like ice and her bones like jade, transcending this world. She stepped into the immortal world, elegant like an immortal. Who is it? Could it be that a criminal from the celestial court has come? At this time, an immortal king from the Xian people hurried over, glaring angrily at the two women. Moreover, he directly raised a large hand, suppressing the two of them. In that instant, the heavens collapsed and the earth split apart. An extremely terrifying aura spread. A tall figure crossed over to the immortal world. The group of experts from the Xian people were all trembling, like ants facing a prehistoric monster. The moment the immortal king's large hand was about to touch this tall old man, it instantly exploded. Crazy. The people of the Xian, people who were still alive, trembled. What kind of invincible giant was this? The immortal king directly shattered before even touching him. Was it a demon lord or a monarch? This wasn't the divine power in Big Brother's body, but rather the laws formed from the most powerful Tao law order in his body. Everyone felt despair and fear. This was a supreme giant that couldn't be angered descending to the immortal world. A pair of deep eyes instantly looked through the boundless world, overlooking the imperial city. Chapter 2068. The Celestial Emperor had arrived in Emperor's City. There's no turning back now. The Phoenix King sighed. The three Emperor clans had gathered, the strongest forces of the celestial world. It was already a dead end. Did Su Yin have any hope of leaving Emperor City alive? This person looked down on the celestial world. One had to know that the celestial race was the strongest race in the celestial world. The current emperor naturally dominated the celestial world. Domain Suppression Emperor hadn't even made a move. Just the Celestial Emperor's unparalleled influence had already caused the space-time of Emperor City to sink into darkness. It was vast and boundless, as if it had fallen into a dark abyss. An old man who wasn't too tall, wearing a plain robe, had a gaze like lightning. Chanting sounds came from his body, as if the fluctuations of the Emperor King were coming from him. It landed majestically above Emperor City, sealing off the sky and the earth. The heaven-opening Emperor Scripture was operating, seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. It let out a deep sound of the great Tao, reprimanding the celestial world's source to disperse. The celestial world was no longer the celestial world of the past that emperors could influence. The space-time emperor was furious. The situation was already like this, but they weren't ready to give up. They wanted to continue suppressing Su Yin. Moreover, the one who came this time was the celestial emperor, enough to represent the will of the entire celestial race. This time, the emperors of the three emperor clans had truly gathered. They represented the three strongest clans of the celestial world. The situation in Emperor City was extremely dangerous. Su Yin, who was receiving the creation baptism, had an unusually cold expression. Although the great fortune of the celestial world had been interrupted, there was still a huge amount of creation matter. These matters were important to Su Yin and Long Daesung. They could accelerate their growth and work hard to become stronger. Of course, Su Yin wanted to open a shortcut to the Celestial King realm more. Unfortunately, all of this was broken, but to Su Yin's surprise, perhaps because of the existence of the black and white chi, it caused the quintessence of the immortal world to disperse after a long time, and it emitted an even more intense fluctuation. It was even to the extent that a great tribulation of the heavens was about to appear. Disperse! The Celestial Emperor shouted angrily, explaining the great karma of the celestial world. Once Su Yin ascended to the immortal emperor realm, it would be a calamity for the immortal world. There was no turning back now. They had to kill Su Yin and cut off his path to becoming an expert. His body emitted a vast chanting of ancient scriptures. The heaven-opening imperial scripture was activated, and the vast universe trembled with it. Vaguely, there was a great majesty that ran through the long river of history of the celestial world. How could this be? Could it be that Su Yin was someone with an immortal fate? He has the potential to make the immortal world rise again. The will of the celestial world is resisting. Even with the influence of the heaven-opening scripture, it still hasn't scattered. This is bad. The celestial monarch wanted to stop Su Yin, but his actions caused the origin of the immortal world to rumble violently. A calamity appeared as endless blazing lightning struck the celestial monarch. This was suppressing the celestial race emperor. Could it be that he was warning him not to go against the heavenly Tao? After all, he was an emperor, and the imperfect environment of the celestial world could hardly suppress him. On the contrary, the will of the celestial world didn't scatter for a long time. There was definitely something strange going on. The other emperors had no choice but to join forces and erupt. Right now, on absolute celestial emperor's side, emperors soared into the sky one after another. Celestial martial emperor, thunder immortal emperor, absolute celestial emperor, domain suppression emperor, starry sky emperor, celestial race emperor. 6 emperors soared into the sky. Who could match this kind of lineup? The origin of the celestial world fell into a state of chaos for a short time. During this process, the heavens were somewhat scarlet red, as if weeping blood. It was forcefully mixed. No matter how strong the resistance of the celestial world was, at this moment, 6 emperors joined forces to suppress the path to becoming an emperor. Some old cultivators trembled. The emperor's city was gloomy. If the cultivationless age arrived, this was something that could only happen if the immortal devil battlefield was lost. Right now, 6 emperors joined forces to influence a corner of the celestial world, entering the most bitter era. At this moment, they truly felt that emperors were supreme, able to influence the celestial world situation. At the same time, these emperors thought, why was it like this? Could it be that Su Yan's potential was so great that he could change the current situation of a celestial world? It was obvious that this kind of ridiculous conjecture had triggered the Emperor's cold, killing intent to spread out. If Su Yan was allowed to grow, would the celestial world still be the celestial world in the future? Change it to the human world. Son of AB asterisk TCH, son of AB asterisk TCH. A space-time that was so far away that it was difficult to touch. A place that was so far away from the celestial world that it was inexplicably terrifying. A dark world that had no end in sight. The great Tao was broken, space-time black holes vaguely appeared, and fragments of time scattered everywhere. These were all extremely terrifying danger zones. Once one entered them by mistake, it would definitely trigger an uncontrollable change. One had to know that the deep and boundless destruction zone was outside the three realms. There was a space-time vortex that even emperors trembled in fear here. The terrifying light of time rose. Once one fell into it, they might return to a terrifying era, or they might travel to the future, or they might arrive in the past. However, one had to be able to endure the process. There were also terrifying historical stars circling around. Immortal kings were as insignificant as dust in front of them. There were also great winds that could destroy the world, and a faintly discernible long river of fate that ruled all living things. In short, any of these danger zones could destroy countless ancient worlds in the celestial world. A roar exploded. A huge black beast seemed to be extremely manic. It was hard to imagine that there would be living creatures in such a boundless danger zone. It mistakenly entered a destroyed, great cosmos, withstanding the suppression of trillions of tribulations. However, the unmatched existence trapped inside had a black body that was terrifyingly enormous, about to burst this destroyed, great cosmos. Roar! Its roar shook the historical stars that filled the sky. Its huge claws that were as black as mountains rose with the light of time and the light of reincarnation. It was as if it was passing through the past and future, stepping on time to cross over. Its aura was infinitely powerful. Its terrifying might filled the universe of death, reversing the past and present. Its roar split the time vortex. It was so terrifying that it could destroy the Tao. Immediately after, another domineering roar resounded through the sky. Purple lights surged, and the roar caused a great wind of destruction to explode. Inside, purple chi and blood covered the sky and earth. A terrifying prehistoric beast defied the heavens and awakened. Its body was sturdy and tall, and its body was covered in purple scales that were dyed with blood radiance. Each scale was like a disk of the universe. The moment it opened and closed, space and time were destroyed. This was a Qilin. It was powerful and peerless. Although its battle body was covered in scars, its aura was too domineering. The destruction of the world was being refined. The huge black tiger broke through the destruction of the universe and arrived in an instant. It passed through time and space like the ancestor of reincarnation. It emitted a strange energy that shook away the purple Qilin, that danger zone. Are you even reliable? The purple Qilin was furious. It went crazy. Its broken great Tao was wailing. Its aura was too terrifying. It was as if a peerless god was roaring through 3,000 worlds. I was almost heavily injured just now. This was outside the three realms. It was full of unimaginable dangers. Once it was injured, it would be too difficult for it to be injured with its rank. It would be very difficult to recover. They would have to exhaust all the rare treasures in the world. This place was equivalent to the burial emperor Vile Earth. It could trap and kill emperors and kill the most powerful creatures. Just now, they had already taken a wrong path. Once they continued on the wrong path, they might not be able to return. Even though they had slaughtered their way out in the past, the situation outside the three realms was too chaotic. It was constantly changing, affected by all types of unfathomable historical currents. It was simply impossible to lock onto the coordinates. Once they got lost inside, they wouldn't be able to return even after a long time had passed. The big black tiger was gasping for breath, sweat pouring down like rain. It was still holding a stalk of divine matter that was about to turn into an emperor medicine in its mouth. It had just been dug out from the ruined great cosmos. If this was before they grew to this level, they might be even more excited, as if they had obtained a precious treasure. However, now, it could only be reduced to a tonic and nourishment, providing them with energy to return. Bastard brat. It was clearly extremely irritable. The huge black beast roared. Just now, the coordinates of the immortal world appeared, but it was ridiculously cut off. This is already the second time. Who is playing with this king? We aren't in the same space-time. Who knew you were going back? The purple cheelant's body was enormous. It opened its mouth and devoured terrifying great stars one after another. It said angrily, "Without the coordinates, is it difficult to return? Is there no hope?" I can still vaguely feel some of the immortal world's aura. It hasn't completely disappeared. The huge and black tiger's body emitted the radiance of reincarnation. It was like the ancestor of reincarnation entrenched in the long river of reincarnation. It shouted, "The immortal world is already extremely close to us. It shouldn't take too long before we can find our way back. Even though the path captured is a bit blurry, it won't deviate from the coordinates." The purple cheelant's serious face surged with joy. It was fine as long as they could find the way back. They needed guidance. In short, this path was too difficult. They had paid a heavy price, and it was impossible to give up halfway. They could only walk this path to the end. Then, the big black tiger said fiercely, "I seem to be able to sense some aura suppressing the immortal world's energy. Which old fellow did this? They got into big trouble and implicated me in great karma. When I return, I'll beat the shit out of them." In the boundless land of destruction and death, the tiger roared. It was as if they were in a chaotic and boundless whirlpool, breaking through the land of death to return. Overall, it was relatively difficult to open up a path to return to the three realms. They didn't know why. Within the imperial city, the celestial emperors working with the other emperors to suppress the immortal world's origin shivered. It was as if they were being targeted by an old monster living in history. They had a bad feeling. They even vaguely felt as if there was a bell-sized eye watching them from beyond the heavens, warning them that a disaster was imminent and that they shouldn't act rashly if they knew what was good for them. Ju, Celestial Emperor, and the others looked at each other with cold expressions. Could it be that Su Yan's suppression was too strong, causing the immortal world's origin to be dissatisfied? Although they had done something similar before, punishing the human world's experts to become emperors, but they were still creatures of the immortal world. They wouldn't let the immortal world's resources go to the human world. One had to know that the immortal world's environment was different from the human world. Once one became an emperor here and obtained an emperor's mandate, they would enjoy the immortal world's strongest resources. It was equivalent to nibbling on the immortal world's tributes. They simply wouldn't allow the human world's experts to become emperors. Suddenly, Su Yan won 3 out of 3 battles on the immortal and devil battlefield and obtained great fortune. They simply wouldn't allow it. This is the way it is. When will it end? Celestial Emperor sighed and said, "Spirit Emperor, your race's cultivation isn't easy. Why did you come here to join in the fun? If you want to settle the karma, you should leave. When this matter is over, I will personally come to apologize." "The karma is settled," Spirit Emperor calmly replied. This made Ju, Celestial Emperor, and the others slightly relieved. This matter had involved so many emperors. Now, one less emperor was one less emperor. However, Spirit Emperor continued to reply, "Just now, I obtained another great karma. I obtained the complete heaven-opening lightning scripture and continued it." You connected it really well. Celestial Emperor's expression was cold. Especially Thunder Immortal Emperor's eyes were red. His killing intent was surging like an ocean. Spacetime Emperor and the others must have obtained the complete chapter. This made Thunder Immortal Emperor really go crazy. "Old Azure Dragon, why did you come here?" Celestial Emperor was calm. He came here to solve the problem. He didn't want to fight. In the end, the immortal world would lose. I can't stand this group of bastards. Old Azure Dragon replied with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, bullying a junior who brought great fortune to the immortal world. Their actions are really righteous. The immortal world's face is lost because of you. Spacetime Emperor. In the end, Celestial Emperor looked at him and sighed. After so many things have happened, the only one we let down is you. I will ask young Emperor to give you an explanation. You can kill or cut up as you wish. But for the sake of the immortal world, you can't continue to do things your own way. No need to let me down. Spacetime Emperor sneered and said, "This old man has resigned from all my duties. I am alone. Only my disciple Su Yin can't let go. If he dies, I die. If he lives, I live. If that's the case, then there's no room for discussion." This person regained his dignity. At this moment, he represented the Celestial Race Emperor and said coldly, "Today, blood flowed in Emperor City. This is the shame of the Celestial world and also the shame of the Emperor race. Enough people have died and we have to deal with this. Otherwise, once the Dark World finds out, it will be the end of our Celestial world." Report, suddenly, a terrifying storm swept through the city. "It's here." East Demon took a deep breath. Fanjian's departure had only been told to him. No one else knew. Since he'd already thrown caution to the wind, there was no need to talk about racial justice. Su Yin was on the verge of death. He'd fought his way up step by step, fought bitterly, and achieved the title of emperor. But now, he was being suppressed by 6 great emperors. There was a ball of fire in his heart that he couldn't vent. He really hoped that the Dark World would launch an all-out attack and force the immortal world's emperors to go to the battlefield. That would greatly reduce the pressure on the city. Report, the 10 battlefields are in danger. The leader rushed to the city and screamed, "The Dark World has unleashed a super strong attack. We can't hold on any longer. Requesting immediate reinforcements. Otherwise, the 10 battlefields will be destroyed one after another. Our world's great fortune is coming. The Dark World is just going crazy. Ignore it." Domain Emperor replied coldly. His words angered many, but some smiled wryly. They'd probably forgotten who'd risked their lives for the great fortune of the immortal world. "It's Su Yin who's being suppressed by you." Report. In the blink of an eye, another teleportation formation appeared outside the city, and a group of experts rushed out. "The Dark World is attacking. Reopen the immortal devil battlefield. 3 ancestor god children are coming." Their leader roared. Chapter 2069. The entire imperial city was covered in blood, and the atmosphere was extremely oppressive, indicating that the great war of the emperors was about to begin. All of a sudden, 2 great realm crossing formations were activated in the emperor's city. 2 teams of generals came to deliver urgent news. The first news was still okay. The Dark World couldn't tear apart the 10 great battlefields in a short period of time. Moreover, the great war of the immortal world was about to end. However, the second urgent message that was sent to him was, almost instantly, the imperial city fell silent, and the temperature in the domain fell to the bottom. Everyone was terrified, and they couldn't breathe. The words of the experts from the 3 realms battlefield were like a bomb that exploded in everyone's heart, making them feel suffocated. "What did you say?" The experts from the Reincarnation Imperial clan walked over. They grabbed the collar of the expert who reported the news and lifted him up. They shouted miserably, "What did you say? Say it again. Say it again." He lost control of his emotions. The great war of the immortal world had begun again. The messenger was terrified by the situation in the imperial city. He stammered, "The Dark World has reopened the 3 realms battlefield. 3 ancestor gods' children have come and reopened the immortal demon battlefield. They want the immortal world to participate immediately." The expert from the Reincarnation Imperial family shouted angrily. The entire imperial city was in an uproar. The Dark World was afraid of Su Yin and ended the immortal demon battlefield early. But now someone told them. The Dark World had attacked, the immortal demon battlefield had reopened, and 3 ancestor gods' children had come to fight for the great fortune of the 3 realms. One had to know that the immortal monarch and the others were killed by Su Yin. Once the ancestor god's children appeared, only the strongest descendant of the imperial family could deal with them. Now, only the princess could come out and participate. Only one person was left. Now, there was no time to awaken the peak talents in the imperial city's Dao Cave. A terrifying storm swept through Emperor City. The Phoenix King and the others all laughed. They hated the Dark World, but today, could they roar out that they wanted to thank the Dark World? Now, they would rather lose this battle than see Su Yin pay the price with his life, only to be persecuted by the imperial family. What would happen? The soldier who came to deliver the message growled. What's there to be afraid of? Although war god Su Yin has broken through, he can still kill himself and carry the banner of the human realm. He can once again fight the Dark World and kill the 3 ancestral godsons, ending the Dark World's hope of victory. As soon as he said this, the huge imperial city suddenly fell into extreme silence. In that instant, heavy breathing rolled out like the sea, almost causing this battle general to disintegrate. He felt fear. What was going on? A kind-hearted old cultivator instantly sealed this general, dragging him to the core region of Emperor City to prevent him from being killed by the Emperor clan's anger. After all, these words were a bit disgraceful. What happened? This battle general shouted. Was there a problem with his words? Su Yin was the imperial prince war god, and he could suppress everything. Although he had broken through to the emperor realm, he could still kill himself. Even though this was unfair to Su Yin, wouldn't it be enough if a mortal old academy gave him a huge amount of resources as compensation? This wasn't a big problem. Who is it? In the blink of an eye, the general's scalp almost exploded as he focused on Su Yin. At this moment, Su Yin was too terrifying. He had ascended into the great fortune realm and was spitting out the source of the world's energy. His physical body was infinitely expanding and awakening. The type of terrifying might made the immortal king seem a bit weak. What happened? He also watched as blood flowed like a river in Emperor City's battlefield, supreme emperors occupying this world one after another. He even saw Space-Time Emperor. Sure enough, the rumors were true. Su Yin and Space-Time Emperor were both still alive. But what exactly was going on? This battle general really wanted to roar out. What exactly was going on? Su Yin sat in the immortal king land of good fortune, his life essence constantly strengthening. Even though the great blessing was cut off, the remaining energy matter was still shocking. Space-Time Emperor, True Dragon Emperor, Spirit Sovereign Emperor. The Celestial Emperor said in a low voice, "You all can leave. If you continue fighting, it will be the greatest loss to the immortal world." Su Yin. In the next moment, he stared at Su Yin and said calmly, "You want to be crowned emperor that much? What? The Celestial Emperor still thinks of me." Su Yin sat in the good fortune world and said coldly, "I thought you wouldn't even look at me, but now you've changed your mind. Tell me what you think, Celestial Emperor. Let the young emperor come out. He has to come out." The Celestial Emperor said calmly, his killing intent dissipating a little. The Celestial Emperor was a bit hesitant, but he also knew that the big picture was more important. They couldn't lose on the immortal demon battlefield. "Ha ha!" Su Yin laughed angrily, his black hair flying wildly. He let out a roar. "What? Now you want to punish the young emperor? Now you want to clean up the mess? Are you going to let me fight on the immortal demon battlefield after that?" The Celestial Emperor's face was cold. What did Su Yin have to rely on? Was he really prepared to fight to the death and would never back down? "Are you going to promise me that after I win the battle, I could be crowned emperor?" Su Yin's heart was filled with rage. He emitted a thunderous fury and said in a ferocious voice, "You really can consider the big picture. You killed the Celestial Emperor and the others. Now that the immortal demon war has started again, shouldn't you be responsible?" The Thunder Immortal Emperor said coldly, "Do you know what it means to the immortal world if we lose this battle? This is a chance to make up for your mistakes." The Celestial Emperor said, "This is a little cruel to you, but for the sake of peace, Su Yin, I hope you will seriously consider answering me." Su Yin didn't look at the Celestial Emperor. He stared at the Thunder Immortal Emperor and sneered. "What does it mean? I didn't expect you to care about such a small matter. The Thunder Immortal Emperor's chest rose and fell violently. He was burning with anger. The sky-opening thunder scripture was made public by Su Yin just like that. He wanted to grind Su Yin into ashes. Space-time Emperor, there is still a way back. The Celestial Emperor looked at him and sighed. The immortal demon battlefield has reopened. It seems that the Dark World is really going to launch an attack. The Space-time Emperor only sneered and didn't respond. Boom! Suddenly, Su Yin, who was entrenched in the immortal King Fortune Land, felt his primordial spirit surge. The Red Lotus Karmic Fire, the Netherworld Karmic Fire, and the Heaven-Earth Lightning Eye were completely subdued by Su Yin. When the Three Disasters secret technique was activated, the Heavenly Punishment Light was born. It was as if it was destroying the world. It was as if it was sprinkling down the strongest heavenly punishment. It was as if it was sprinkling down a great calamity that deterred the emperors. The sky was burning, the lightning of destruction fell, and the storm of destruction raged. The Three Disasters secret technique was released, and the three treasures merged. The aura that made the gods tremble erupted endlessly. It even caused Su Yan's primordial spirit to tremble. It was about to self-destruct in the violent Three Disasters secret technique. This thing was too scary. Even with Su Yan's primordial spirit, it was difficult to control it. It could be seen that the Three Disasters secret technique already had the power to kill an immortal king. Su Yan catch. At this time, East Demon waved his hand, tossing out a broken black flower, throwing it towards the immortal king, Good Fortune Land. Roar! Su Yan's golden primordial spirit roared and swallowed the fragment of the Three Realms flower that still had more than half of its essence left. His primordial spirit's soul light surged into the sky. It was as if he had turned into a huge black beast. His origin soul energy soared several times. The Three Realms flower. It's the Three Realms flower. Xian Weihuan's expression changed drastically. He pointed at Su Yin and shouted angrily, "It's the Three Realms flower that my clan lost." Su Yin, the one who snatched the Three Realms flower back, then was actually you. It was actually you. This was a broken Emperor herb, but its value was not inferior to an Emperor herb. Who would have thought that it was Su Yin who had snatched it away? This was because this matter was like a fantasy story. They were so angry that they almost spat out a mouthful of blood. That's right, it was me. Su Yan's soul light soared into the sky. His primordial spirit was evolving after bathing in the Three Realms flower. He said coldly, "This is the cycle of karma." The young emperor tried to assassinate the space-time emperor, but he didn't expect that the Three Realms flower that I snatched away back then protected the space-time emperor's primordial spirit. Bastard! Xian Weihuan roared. He was mad with hatred. That damned young emperor couldn't do anything right. The two groups of generals who had rushed from the battlefield to the imperial city trembled. They didn't dare to believe Su Yan's words. The space-time emperor was killed by the young emperor. Now, Su Yan's primordial spirit was evolving. His soul light surged, and his yang energy surged like an ocean. His foundation was so terrifying that even the immortal kings were shocked. This was the legendary Three Realms flower, a great creation substance that even emperors coveted. Su Yan, the immortal martial emperor, pointed at him and said coldly, "Let me ask you. Back then, on the day my race plucked the Three Realms flower, we were attacked by experts from the Dark World. Are you related to the Dark World? You should ask the young emperor how he got in touch with the three ancestral gods of the Dark World. Or is it the emperors of the Xian people?" Su Yin sneered. "The more you evade the question, the more it shows that he's guilty." The immortal martial emperor said coldly, "How can there be such a coincidence? You just killed the immortal monarch and the others, and the Dark World suddenly opened the immortal demon battlefield. Is this related to you? Idiot, you don't need to find a reason to kill me." Su Yin sneered. "Do I need a reason to kill you?" The immortal martial emperor's expression suddenly became fierce. He shouted angrily, "The ancient celestial court destroyed my race's 3 ancestral lands and killed 5 emperors. This is a blood debt. As for you, since you're from the celestial court, you must die here. You finally said it. Su Yin roared. You've held it in for so long, and now you've finally said it. Blame the Lord of the celestial court for being too merciful. He should have killed all of you dogs. Roar. The absolute celestial emperor let out a sorrowful roar. The reincarnation imperial family had suffered even more losses. They had 4 ancestral lands, and 3 of them had been destroyed. Only one was left. The 3 emperor families had an ancient heritage and were strong since ancient times. They had dozens of emperors, but after tens of millions of years of war, the ancestral lands of the Xian people and the reincarnation imperial family had collapsed one after another. A large number of emperors had died, and their vitality had been greatly damaged. In fact, even if their vitality had been greatly damaged, the 2 imperial families still had a terrifying foundation. This was hatred. This was the humiliation of the imperial family. This was an unforgettable hatred. Back then, Su Yin had been weak, and they had not targeted him. But now, Su Yin wanted to be crowned emperor. This was impossible. A storm was brewing in the imperial city. This was no longer a matter of a young emperor. The Xian people and the reincarnation imperial family would not stand by and watch. It was impossible for a young expert of the ancient celestial court to be crowned emperor in one battle. This celestial world was their territory. How could they allow their enemy to be crowned emperor in the celestial world? The celestial court shall be destroyed. The region suppression emperor roared. After killing you all, we will go to the human world and slaughter the entire celestial court. Aren't you afraid that the Lord of the celestial court will return and settle the score with you all? The spiritual emperor said angrily. Although I don't know what you all did back then, don't forget that the dark world was also heavily damaged by the Lord of the celestial court. The celestial court is nothing. The celestial emperor laughed angrily. Once the 3 emperor families join forces, we can defeat all enemies. Look at you, why don't you go and flatten the dark world? Suddenly, a clear and cold voice resounded throughout the imperial city. A woman walked over from a distant world. Her big sleeves fluttered in the wind, and she was aloof from the world. It was as if she was walking on top of all living things. Even the peerless empress paled in comparison to her. This was a real immortal descending upon the imperial city. She sneered. What are you talking about? If you can't, then you can't. Why do you have to flatter yourself? Chapter 2070. The woman in Taoist robes had long sleeves that fluttered in the wind. Her black hair fell to her waist, and her wide Taoist robes fluttered in the wind. Her beautiful face was calm as she stood at the peak of the imperial city. She seemed calm and quiet like a true immortal, but she exuded an aura that looked down on the past and present. This was a supreme demeanor. Woo-woo, Tai Baokai almost cried. Her eyes were bloodshot, and she lost control of her emotions. They were like motherless children who were bullied by others. Now, someone from their mother's family had come. It was hard to describe this emotion clearly. East, Demon, and the others were greatly moved, and they were breathing heavily. Dao Shuyi was here. The descendant of the celestial court's master was here. Then, the prehistoric big brother must be here too. The entire imperial city was silent. The scene was a little strange. Many people were looking at this mysterious woman. Who was she? She dared to come to the imperial city and scold the emperors, the Xian people, and a supreme emperor clan member who was flattering herself. This caused a huge uproar, especially the space-time emperor, whose control of time and space had reached the peak. Although he had declined and no longer had his peak strength, he couldn't see through the Dao Shuyi. It was as if he was looking at a vast and boundless world. It was too deep and vast. Who are you? The celestial martial emperor's face was cold as he said coldly, a celestial king dares to boast shamelessly and slander the celestial clan. The emperor's aura rippled through the sky. It was terrifying and peerless, and it could kill billions of lives in an instant. However, the moment it was about to suppress the Dao Shuyi, it disappeared without a trace. It was as if it had never existed. Everyone was shocked. The emperor's aura couldn't reach the Dao Shuyi at all. She was like a transcendent fairy who had descended to the mortal world. She stood at the peak of the imperial city. Although she didn't leak any divine power, her demeanor made all the women in the city feel inferior. I'm suddenly immortal. How can you hurt me? Dao Shui said calmly. You are really impressive. It seems that the lesson from back then was not enough. Now you want to make things difficult for the Celestial Court, and even want to wipe out the Celestial Court. Do you really think that the Celestial Court can't do anything? I was wondering who it was. The Celestial Martial Emperor laughed and pointed at Dao Shui. So, it's the remnant of the Celestial Court. Do you think this is still the world of the past? How many masters can you have tied up the entire Celestial Court? How can you compete with the Xian people? In the blink of an eye, the Celestial Emperor, Absolute Celestial Emperor, and Domain Suppression Emperor appeared in the sky. The atmosphere in the Imperial City was oppressive to the extreme. Everyone felt that a great calamity was about to befall them. The three great emperors' eyes were filled with murderous intent. The Celestial Court dared to appear in the Celestial Realm so openly. This was an insult to them. Roar! At this time, roars rolled. Su Yan's primordial spirit was infinitely terrifying. The Yang Qi was boundless, shaking the universe. The Three Realms flower was about to be completely devoured by his primordial spirit. His primordial spirit was filled with billions of layers of soul qi. It was about to become an immortal king primordial spirit. The soul qi was too strong, causing Su Yan's body to become even more brilliant. It wanted to cross a terrifying realm and evolve into the immortal king realm. Although Su Yan's Dao Law Order was maintaining the evolution of an immortal King Dao fruit, his body had been bathed in great fortune and had grown to become extremely powerful. Once his primordial spirit had the soul qi of an immortal king, his body might be able to break through in one go. This was simply a legend. A peak Emperor Realm expert had broken through the taboo and was about to forcefully step into the immortal king realm. Suddenly, just the physical body was tearing through the barrier. Su Yan would definitely be peerless and invincible on that day. Kill! The three great emperors soared into the sky, wanting to kill Su Yan. At the same time, the space-time emperor and the others moved. The three great emperors soared into the sky with solemn expressions. You guys really want to start a war? The absolute heavenly emperor said angrily. You want to join hand with the Celestial Court to fight against the Xian people and the Reincarnation Emperor race. You should make things clear now. If that's really the case, you guys are the great enemies of the Xian people and the Reincarnation Emperor race. The three great emperors didn't respond. How could they respond? Things had already reached this stage. What else could they say? What else is there to say? Just kill them. The Thunder Immortal Emperor was the first to step out. The three of them must have obtained the sky-opening lightning scripture. He wanted nothing more than to kill them right now. I think we should kill this woman first. The Thunder Immortal Emperor's words were sinister. He directly stretched out a big hand and suppressed Dao Shui. The Space-Time Emperor and the other two great emperors emitted powerful emperor's might, covering the area where Dao Shui was. Seniors, there's no need to protect me. Dao Shui lightly shook her head. She had an exceptional demeanor and said indifferently, I don't have any cultivation at all, and I'm not someone these trash can harm. Also, I have to thank the three seniors for protecting me, the successor of the Celestial Court. Fairy, you're too polite. We're just doing our job. The three great emperors replied solemnly. Dao Shui represented the Celestial Court, so they had to treat her with respect. At the same time, they were shocked. Could it be that Dao Shui had the battle prowess to contend against the great emperors? On the contrary, her words made the four great emperors furious. What kind of trash was she? They were supreme giants. Dao Shui's words had successfully angered them. The four great emperors continuously stretched out their big hands and suppressed Dao Shui. I'm standing here. Can you hurt even a strand of my hair? Dao Shui said softly. Her expression was tranquil and elegant like a fairy. Boom! The heaven and earth collapsed. Destructive ripples flowed out. It was so terrifying that it was like the end of the world. The space-time where Dao Shui was had started to collapse. The peerless killing intent swept towards Dao Shui's figure. wanting to kill her in one move. That is, the space-time emperor's expression changed. Even old Azure Dragon, a great emperor, had a premonition that it was unbelievable. 4 great emperors working together to kill Dao Shui. To be honest, even if it were any of the 3 of them, it would be extremely difficult for them to withstand such a situation. But now, when the murderous auras of 4 emperors surged over, drowning out the Dao book instrument, this woman with fluttering sleeves released a clear radiance. It was very gentle and also very mysterious, but she seemed to be unsurpassed. Rumble. Faintly, the great emperors heard the profound and bitter voice of the great Tao. It was as if it had transcended thousands of eras and crossed the river of time to press on. In an instant, the great emperor's primordial spirits throbbed as if they were about to fall. The great emperors in the imperial city all turned pale. This was an extremely terrifying scene. This woman seemed ordinary, but in reality, the space-time of the imperial city was changing. A corner of a figure appeared and covered the entire imperial city. This was just a corner of a figure. Suddenly, the great emperors were shocked. It was as if there was a figure that filled the outer verse of the celestial world. It was so terrifying that it caused the heavens to tremble and the billions of ancient worlds in the celestial world to resonate. Heavens, in the entire celestial world, the ancestral lands of countless clans rumbled as if they were about to collapse. One after another, the ancestral courts of the great emperors began to tremble. This was a major event that shook the celestial world. The ancestral courts of the various ancestral lands issued a warning, warning the elites of the clans to be obedient and not act rashly. This was a terrifying event. Even the ancestral lands of the great emperors were warning, indicating that the celestial world was about to suffer a terrifying calamity. A single mistake could lead to a bloody calamity. It was like an immeasurable calamity. The strongest of the ancient worlds could see a figure towering in the sky. It was so vast that it covered the heavens and could be said to have penetrated the space-time of the 3 worlds. It was so terrifying that the heavens and earth could not bear it. The 4 arms that pressed down on Dao Shui trembled one after another. The hearts of the Thunder Immortal Emperor and the other great emperors were filled with fear. Sweat poured down their bodies like rain. These were supreme great emperors. Now, they were completely scared out of their wits. There was fear in their hearts. It's him, it's him. Domain Suppression Emperor cried out in despair. Back then, the Xian people suffered a calamity and were almost erased from the Xian people. It was because of the majestic figure that appeared between heaven and earth. It was as if the river of time had been cut off, suppressing the great emperors until they were about to collapse. Absolute Celestial Emperor also roared in a low voice. Back then, the great emperors bled, and even the great emperors were about to fall. How could they forget the invincible combat strength of the master of the celestial court back then? He stood at the peak of the 3 worlds and looked down on all living things. He surpassed all living things in the 3 worlds. The descendant of the master of the celestial court. Spacetime Emperor was shocked. He was definitely the closest descendant of the master of the celestial court. Otherwise, the fate of the master of the celestial court wouldn't exist in his body. Once he angered him, it was equivalent to angering the master of the celestial court. The 4 great emperors retracted their palms. There was fear, killing intent, and wariness in their eyes. The people of Emperor City were all stupefied because they couldn't see his appearance at all. The stronger the existence, the easier it was to capture it. The immortal kings in the city were all trembling. Just now, they felt that the immortal world was about to be destroyed. Bao Kai and the others roared. The descendant of the master of the celestial court was here, shocking the 4 great emperors to the point where they lost their composure. As if avoiding snakes and scorpions, they retracted their palms, not attacking him. The atmosphere in Emperor City was cold to the extreme. The expressions of the 4 great emperors were uncertain. They felt like they were riding a tiger and couldn't get off. They even had a terrifying thought. Maybe the master of the celestial court was still alive. Maybe he would come to the immortal world to settle things with them in the future. What are you scared of? Thunder Immortal Emperor roared. Don't target him. Don't make things difficult for him. The fate in his body can't be activated either. If they retreated just like that, where would the dignity of the great emperors be left? A descendant suppressed them. This was a humiliation. It would bring shame to the immortal world. They were all great emperors, all of them having strong beliefs. How could they be willing to retreat and let Su Ying go? Well said. Absolute Sky Emperor also roared angrily. That person will definitely not come back. Otherwise, he wouldn't have allowed the dark matter to invade the human world. Seems like you still remember. Dao Shui shouted coldly. When you clans join hands with the dark world to attack the human world, there will be someone to settle this account with you. What did you say? Old Azure Dragon let out a heaven-shaking roar. The entire Emperor City was about to collapse. Crazy, all of you are crazy. Starry Sky Emperor's scalp almost exploded. He felt terrified and quickly retreated, not daring to stay for a moment longer. He escaped. The water here was too deep. It wasn't something that the Starry Sky Emperor clan could participate in. All the living beings in the Emperor City were terrified. The descendant of the master of the Celestial Court said that they had once joined hands with the Dark World to invade the human world. Was this true? All the living beings exclaimed in disbelief. The Dark World was the mortal enemy of the immortal world. Ah, the army outside the city screamed, shaking the 9 heavens. Dao Shui's words caused serious consequences and influence. She came here on behalf of the Celestial Court. Some of the old antiques knew that the Dark World had indeed been heavily injured by the master of the Celestial Court. Kill, kill! Absolute Sky Emperor and the others roared, their eyes bloodshot. Let her speak clearly. Space-Time Emperor and the others shouted in grief and indignation. They felt that this matter was inconceivable. After all, for a long time, the Xian people had suffered heavy casualties in the war against the Dark World. No one dared to say that the Emperor clans didn't make great contributions. A demoness is trying to confuse the masses with her lies. Do you believe her? Kill. Immortal Martial Emperor roared. What Celestial Court? It's already a bygone era. What experts do you have left? How dare you slander the Xian people? How many experts do you have left? Do you still have the qualifications to go against the Xian people? Who said that the Celestial Court is inferior to the Xian people? In an instant, a terrifying aura overflowed and shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths, shaking the vast world. It was as if a supreme being had descended from the legends. A tall old man with messy hair crossed space and time, pressing down on the Emperor's city with his ferocious aura. He was clearly a tall old man, but he exuded an unparalleled majesty and heroic spirit, intimidating all the emperors in the Emperor's city. Puffed! The Celestial Emperor only felt that the supreme giant was rushing over, and the laws of order in the world exploded and fell on him. At the same time, the sealed great fortune was shaken off and began to descend into the world again. The prehistoric Big Brother roared and crossed the sea of stars, about to break through the Emperor's city.